All right, got a crash. 40 eastbound near Church Street, reported by police. That's going to be exit 209A, just right outside the building here. And then in Antioch, we got some police activity that has the right lane blocked, 24 eastbound near the Blue Hole Road overpass. East Bank downtown, 24 westbound at Shelby Avenue, police reporting a crash. And then in Woodbine, got a stalled vehicle, 24 eastbound at I-440. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to have you with us on this Friday edition. It is 3:07. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well this Friday. It's pretty good looking out there. I mean, it's a little bit cold, but it ought to be a little bit cold. It's February the 21st after all, but good-looking day. Little sunshine outside. Man, have you seen my truck? Ugh.
Needs a bath?
Oh, man. I think I got all the salt on it. Every little bit of the salt and whatever brine or whatever the hell they're using on the roads.
Well, you hadn't seen mine, so you ain't got all of it.
Oh, you get some of it too?
No, I got
nasty.
quite a bit.
What about you, Weaver? You pick up that stuff on 24?
I don't have a truck.
Well, I mean, you have a vehicle.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
You want to drive my truck? I tell you what, Weaver, I'll make a deal with you.
What's that?
I will let you borrow my truck for a day. All you have to do is promise to bring it back filled up.
No way, dude.
Yeah, that sounds like a bargain.
That's a bad.
It costs like $100.
Because when you get it, I promise you, it's going to be on E. Oh yeah. And then they tell me that 87 octane's not good for that thing. You need to run at least 89. Preferably 91. I'm like, good Lord. What do y'all think I make talk radio money or something? No. Good gracious. There's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom, gathering headlines always and thrilling us with his acumen and accuracy.
Good afternoon, boys. Yes.
What is going on this Friday, Ken? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm ready to actually, I'm ready to go home. I'm already worn out, dude. I mean, there is a lot going on. I mean, it's been nonstop.
It's been a flood of news, man.
Yes.
I mean, the last month, really. I mean,
I like it. I'm just, it's the weekend. We finally got some sunshine today.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go home.
All right. Well, I mean, I think if we vote, it would occur to me that if we vote, we can just pack it up and call it a weekend, right?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it be nice?
If our keys would still work on Monday?
That's the trouble. We could.
I probably wouldn't care on Monday, but maybe by Wednesday or Thursday, I think, man, I may have made a mistake here.
Certainly by the 28th of the month, when you look at the old checking accounts, like what? Oh yeah. I haven't been at work. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, we could vote. We could do it.
Well, we could vote. I mean, it'd be like a resolution.
Oh,
nothing would happen.
I mean, no, we could take action. I mean, we could. I think there might be a few consequences on the other side.
Some
maybe.
Reaction?
I think there would decidedly be some reaction. Well, we're happy to be here. We're much to our own delight. We'll be here till 7 o'clock, or they kick us out of the radio station, whichever comes first. And we've got a lot to get into, as Ken Weaver mentioned. There's a lot going on. I am going to have a bit of fun with you today. I mean, obviously, it's a Friday, so it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. That means anything goes on the phone lines. You're welcome to call us up with any action, activity, any notice that you want to put us on. You can do that by 615-737-9986. We're going to talk serious matters with these ghouls in Hamas. We made mention of this yesterday. It just got worse from yesterday to today with regard to what they're doing and what they're not doing in terms of turning over the hostages, dead or alive. We will discuss that today. We're going to talk about the mainstream media and their reaction to Doge over the first month of the presidency of Donald J. Trump. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's fight with the state of Maine and the governor of Maine over transgender athletes, which is just it is amazing to me the lengths that the political left is willing to go to defend 0.2% of the general population against polling that indicates that roughly 15% of America support them on this issue with regard to transgender male athletes competing in female sports and dominating female sports as a result when they do compete. We will break it down and discuss and get your thoughts on it as well throughout the course of the afternoon. There's an asteroid coming. We've mentioned this over the last week or so. I don't know what it says about me that, I mean, we live in exciting times, right? These are amazing times. I mean, hell, we had an agent of the Department of Government Efficiency on stage last night with a big-ass chainsaw. Did y'all see that?
Loved it.
I loved it, too. Did you? I mean, it looked like a specially made chainsaw because it was all silver.
Oh, yeah, had like chrome spikes on it.
Oh, yeah. It was so good. It was so good. And at first, I'm like, well, he doesn't have a chain on that. Yeah, he did. He had a chain on it, too. Because, a lot of times when you get those prop chainsaws, they don't really have chains on them.
Yeah.
He had a chain on this one, boy. So we live in exciting and amazing times. And one of the things that's going on kind of behind the scenes is this story about this asteroid. Like, we've made movies about this. What would happen if an asteroid came to Earth and actually hit Earth? Well, NASA has been reporting that there is an asteroid out there. It's called like Y647b-14A or something. There is a risk that this asteroid is going to hit Earth. Now, it is small enough that they believe it's only going to be about 500 times the size of the Hiroshima explosion, only 500 times. And they just want everybody to know that this isn't a life-ending or Earth-ending asteroid. So that's nice to know.
Unless you're underneath.
Well, yeah, unless you're where it hits, because they did say that if it hit in a particular location, that it would destroy whatever it hits. Obviously, like it is a city killer. Is what it's not an Earth killer, it's not a man killer, but it is a city killer. And they've identified that it would only hit the lower hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, which is odd. That they can't tell us if it's going to hit us or not, but they can tell us that it will only hit the southern hemisphere. So it's only going to affect, if it were to hit land, Australia, obviously Antarctica, which is unpopulated, outside of those like 14 scientists and that thing underneath. Kurt Russell was down there in Antarctica with the thing and
the penguins.
And the penguins. Yeah, sure. Morgan Freeman's down there doing the narration.
Little fellas.
Oh, poor little guys. The man, them and the seals. The seals in that one. The seals are the jerks.
Yeah, they eat penguins.
They're the ones that eat the penguins,
That's right.
Which made me feel better about when the seals get eaten by the sharks. Circle of life. There you go, seal. Take that, seal. Eating the penguin meat. Anyway, so South America or Africa or Australia is basically what we're talking about. But if it hit a city, it would obviously take the city out. I mean, it would be pretty bad. So what does it say that I'm not making this up, and I hesitate to admit it. I like to say that I'm a chaos man. I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't want anybody to be impacted by this asteroid. I really don't. But the percentage of possibility that it's going to hit the Earth went down considerably in their last update, and it disappointed me.
You were like, oh.
That's exactly what I did, Chris. And I don't know why. I'm just admitting it to you. It went from like 3.5% to like 0.3%.
Oh.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
Rats.
Rat farts, I said to myself. Like, that's no good. I need to find the exact percentages. By the way, have y'all seen this? I posted this up on the X Machine at Matt Murphy Show while I'm looking for the percentages from NASA. Have y'all seen this proto-clone, the world's first bipedal musculoskeletal android?
That sounds creepy.
Go look at the video. You talk about creepy. I posted it up. I was like, I said, now they're just trying to make 2025 like a damn horror movie because they have it hanging on wires.
Oh, yeah.
And then it starts moving.
Yeah.
And it is designed to replicate the human body.
Yeah.
And so it's like a a white-skinned human being with no face.
It's coming, man. I'm
starting
telling
to move
you.
around. And
I'm telling you.
oh, these things, these proto-clones, they're already on pre-order.
Yes.
And what would we be doing with said clones?
They said that it will map your home, it will clean your home, it will do your dishes, it will do, I guess, whatever you program it to do.
They're just going to do friendly things.
First time I turn the corner in the middle of the night and that thing's standing there, it's either him or me, man. Him or me.
Yeah, so NASA said that the percentages went down from 3.1% to 0.28%.
Wow.
And I got to admit, I was a little bit disappointed by it all.
Well, it would be fascinating to see what the impact of it would have on the planet. If it, hit Antarctica or some unpopulated, or the middle of the ocean for that matter, just to see what it would do. What would happen.
Yes. And there's the ultimate in chaos.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anything to get destroyed. I don't want anybody's life to be permanently altered or ended. But, I just want to see what's going on. New observations, according to NASA. And now there are already conspiracy theories going on about this latest development because they went from like 1.8% to 3.5%. And then they've gone, oh, no, it's gone back up. Hold on a second.
Yay!
It's gone back up to 1.5%, I think.
Yay!
Unless I'm misreading this. Boo. Our understanding of the asteroid's path. This was February the 19th. Okay, so this is new. This is relatively new.
That was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. New observations of asteroid 2024 YR4 helped us update its chance of impact in 2023. The current probability is 1.5%. Our understanding of the asteroid's path improves with every observation. We'll keep you posted.
I think they're just throwing numbers out at this point.
Well, see, but now, here, okay.
Like, how does it change that many times within a week span?
All right, so it had gone up to it was at 1.5%. Let me get this right. I've mangled this. I wish I could start the show over again. But I finally got to the NASA website, so I apologize. I've completely
You were
mangled
just killing time.
I'm just killing time until I got to the NASA website. Here's the reality. The probability of striking the Earth is 98%.
Ooh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, my.
I was going to say, yay!
Okay, so I'm working backwards here. Observations made overnight on February 19th and 20th of asteroid 2024 YR4 have further decreased the chance of Earth impact December 22nd, 2023. Originally, the impact probability was 1.5%. However, the day after that observation was made, there was a higher probability impact recorded, the highest probability impact ever recorded at NASA for an object of this size, 3.1%. That came from the Minor Planet Center, which happened in the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California, NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Study. Sadly, or happily, depending on your point of view, as of today, the probability has decreased to 0.28%. It has gone down.
Oh.
NASA's planetary defense teams will continue to monitor the asteroid to improve our predictions of the trajectory. With the new data, the chance of an impact with the moon increased slightly to 1%. With the moon.
That'd be something.
I mean, what happens to the tides?
I think that'd be bad.
I mean, what would is someone smart enough in this listening audience to call me and tell me what would happen if we lost the moon? If the moon just...
We'd probably just shoot off into another galaxy.
I mean, I don't know.
It'd get real cold or hot.
I'd almost think that we would be better off as Earthlings if it were to hit Earth than if it were to hit the moon.
I mean, is this just wild, rampant speculation by Weaver and Weber here? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, very good.
I got no credentials. None at all. I shouldn't even be in this room. What does this button do?
That makes two of us. This room, that room, certainly not the newsroom. Don't trust me with the news. I don't tell you that. Yeah, I need to do a little research, a little quick research during the break here. For some reason, you say that, and I say that you're right.
Well, the moon is much smaller. So it would have a greater impact on a smaller, surface, I would think.
I would feel like if it hit the moon, it would just destroy the moon.
Or just mess the orbit of the moon up, which would then impact, like you were talking about, the tides and all that sort of thing.
It mess us up.
But what would happen if the tides got impacted, though? I mean,
I don't know.
Good
question.
I feel like that would mess up the biorhythms of the Earth to the point that, they say the poles are flipping. That's what they say. That's what they tell me. All the time I hear it.
Can't do that on a flat surface.
There's always one, everybody. There's always one in the crowd, one of those dadgum flat earthers. It's 21 after the hour. That's the fun stuff on the Matt Murphy Show. We'll get to the hard stuff in a moment, to include Hamas and what is with the mainstream media refusing to report the good news that Doge has brought to us over the last month. We'll discuss that as well. Your telephone calls on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, 615-737-9986, 21 after on Super Talk. Defend Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm, and they're based right here in Middle Tennessee. Brink Fiddler comes on often to talk about how you can better prepare yourself in the unlikely event that something negative should happen to you in your place of business or in your school or in your church or really any place that people gather. If you're a decision maker in any of these points of entry, I encourage you to contact Brink Fiddler. Allow him to talk to you about talking with your staff regarding things like active shooter response, workplace violence prevention, site survey and threat assessment, security improvement consultation, emergency and intruder action plans, and rapid response medical, all customized to your facility. This is what it's all about, folks. You are truly the first responder. I know that we call police officers and firefighters and EMTs the first responders, and we owe them a great level of respect, but truly, you're the first responder when it comes to how you're going to react to these types of things. Are you ready? Are you prepared? Let's get Defend Systems in our lives. 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or defendsystems.com. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you about what you're eating this weekend. I'm not trying to be nosy, but if you're eating something and you don't have the delicious spices of Savory Spice, either in the recipe or on top of the food, I just humbly suggest you're doing it wrong. When you walk into Savory Spice, you'll see the difference. They have a spice for every occasion, a spice for every taste, every international flavor, and they have them in abundance at their 2 locations. One's in L&L Market on Charlotte Pike. Go by and see them there. Or in Franklin, just off the square next to Grace Pharmacy. When you stop in, you'll smell the delicious smells of the aromas of the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the various salts and spices and seasonings and peppers and all of the things that make our food so delicious. You know, you up your food game, right? You up your food game by getting a better cut of steak, getting a better cut of salmon, getting the better veggies at the farmer's market or whatnot. Well, you need to up your spice game as well, and you do that at Savory Spice. Plus, they have the Spice and Easy line of products. They make it so easy for you if you're not familiar with the kitchen, and they are great for gift giving for those that love the kitchen in your life. It's Savory Spice. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only. Tell Holly and David I said hello at Savory Spice.
A judge has pulled the pause on U.S. aid firings. We'll tell you about that story and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. Also, the Associated Press is now suing 3 Trump administration officials over access to presidential events, citing freedom of speech in asking a federal judge to stop the 10-day blocking of its journalists. The lawsuit was filed Friday afternoon in U.S. District Court this afternoon, just happening moments ago. The AP says its case is about an unconstitutional effort by the White House to control speech. In this case, refusing to change its style from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, as President Donald Trump did last month with an executive order. You know, I love the fact that the same damn media organizations that insist we call women men and men women, the same media organizations that are so quick to change the names of a variety of different forts around the United States of America, Fort Bliss, Fort Bragg, I should say, immediately becomes Fort Liberty and these sorts of things. They had no problem doing that. But Donald Trump changes Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and they take exception with it. And so Donald Trump says, fine, you don't have to be a part of my events. I believed this when it happened with Jim Acosta, and I thought this the courts ruled incorrectly on that. That if you grant basic and general access to the press, to press-based availabilities and events, there's nothing that compels the President of the United States of America to allow particular individuals into particular press events. As far as I'm concerned. More on that coming up in just a moment. It chafes me that, well, I would hope that it would be differently decided this time around. According to the Associated Press in its lawsuit, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get into it in a second because I've got to do this. Much more important things happening. So, gentlemen, dadgummit, it went away. Hold on. What would happen? I want to So, y'all tell me that my computer's not listening to me?
Uh-oh.
I typed in, because I was looking about the moon thing, I typed in what would happen if. Y'all want to know what it put in there?
The moon was hit by an asteroid.
That's number 3, Ken. It's number 3.
Wow.
See, it's trying to be sly here. What would happen if the Earth stopped rotating?
Oh.
Mm-hmm. What would happen if the moon disappeared? What would happen if an asteroid hit the moon? What would happen if an asteroid hit Earth? What would happen if Yellowstone erupted? What would happen if the sun exploded? What would happen if the IRS was abolished? Which seems a little bit of an outlier. Seems a little bit of an outlier.
I know what would happen if the moon disappeared.
Well, what?
People wouldn't fall in love.
Aw, that's so. Yeah, see the moon, Mary? I just put a lasso around, pull it down for you. Yeah.
That's the worst Jimmy Stewart I've ever heard.
You knew who it was. You knew who it was.
I've seen the movie.
Well, I mean,
they'd have to take away a number 1 hit from Conway Twitty too.
Well, which one was that? Tight fitting jeans?
I'd
love to lay you down. You've never been this far before? Which one, Ken?
Talk to the man in the moon.
Which Conway Twitty song about him getting in women's pants are we referring to? That dude. Conway Twitty had so much game, he got away with those songs in the 70s.
And the 80s, dude.
With your hair up all in curlers, I'd still love to lay you down. Done, Conway.
Well, laying there with Linda on his mind.
Well, yeah. I mean, Linda must have been something. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, actually, the name of that song was I Don't Know a Thing About Love, the Moon song.
Is that in parentheses?
Yeah.
The moon song? Yeah.
Well, y'all want to know what would happen if the moon disappeared?
Sure.
Let's see what the Google machine says. If the moon disappeared, the most significant impact would be drastically weaker ocean tides, potentially disrupting coastal ecosystems and potentially unstable Earth axes, leading to extreme variations in seasons and climate due to the lack of the moon's stabilizing gravitational pull on Earth's tilt. This could result in extreme weather events and disruptions to life on Earth as we know. Well, we're already doing that with climate change.
Sounds like a Tuesday.
I mean, yeah. So no biggie. No biggie. Dave writes in and says, Conway got more tail than a public toilet seat. Come on, Dave. That is not what we do on this radio show, Dave. This is a serious... It's a serious radio show, and I don't appreciate those types of comments. And whoever repeated that is in a lot of trouble. Here comes the news. It's 31 after the hour.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and it looks like USAID firings are back on. A federal judge today declined to block the Trump administration from putting thousands of employees with U.S. Agency for International Development on administrative leave and recalling others from overseas. So efforts to overhaul that agency as part of Trump's overall effort to cut federal spending are back on. Layoffs have hit the Federal Aviation Administration, as we hear from Stephen Portnoy.
The layoffs hitting the FAA have affected over 100 probationary employees. Despite the agency's insistence that no critical employees were let go, one who says she was just weeks shy of ending her probationary status told ABC News she's shocked her position was eliminated.
President Trump is not happy with the pace of deportation. Neither is border czar Tom Homan. So today, the acting ICE director, Caleb Vitello, was reassigned. Reports say Homan has also been upset with media leaks coming out of ICE that he says leads to fewer arrests than ICE has anticipated in certain operations. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has fired Fire Chief Kristen Crowley, who led the response to the Palisades fire last month.
1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal.
In Kentucky, Louisville Metro Police say they were called around noon today to a shooting at the driver licensing regional office in Valley Station.
When they arrived on scene, there's 3 subjects down, 1 male pronounced deceased on scene. 2 females were transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, but they later succumbed to their injuries and they are both deceased as well.
Police are looking for suspects. And in money news, sales of existing homes are dropping. Mortgage rates have been hovering around 7% this year, more than double the record low of 2.65% a little over 4 years ago. That, plus the rising price of existing homes, keeping many would-be buyers at home. Home price is also a deterrent. National median sales price up nearly 5% in January from a year earlier to just under $397,000. In Nashville, Realtor.com says the median listing price last month was $545,000. The median home sold price was $480,000. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Got a crash 40 eastbound near Church Street, and in Antioch, some police activity with the right lane blocked 24 eastbound near Blue Hole Road. Over on the East Bank, a crash reported by police going westbound at Chevy Avenue. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
They like to say in Nashville, Tennessee, if you don't like the weather, just wait. It will change. And let me tell you, if you don't like your health insurance right now, your health insurance coverage, you can't just wait to change it. And do not be fooled by this nonsense where you can only make changes during, quote, open enrollment. Not so. Shane Ring can help you understand these things. I need you to call Shane Ring right now. If you're unsatisfied with your current insurance, or if you don't know if you're getting maximum results from the money that you pay, it's time to do an insurance check, a health insurance check with Shane Ring. He has all programs and all policies available at his fingertips at his offices in Brentwood. He can go over these with you. He'll sit down with you and he'll help you understand firsthand exactly how much you're paying or overpaying for your health insurance plan and what you can do to get yourself in a better situation. Now, if you're in a great sitch, he'll tell you so. He'll say, fine on you, great, wonderful, you're in a perfect position. But if you're not, Shane's going to tell you that as well. And don't you want to know whether or not you're overpaying? I mean, the possibility exists that you are for the coverage that you're getting. And if you're not getting the proper amount of coverage, let's get with Cover Nash. Go to covernash.com or call Shane Ring directly at 615-465-0023. 465-0023. Make that phone ring and call Shane Ring with Cover Nash. The fire chief of Los Angeles has been fired. We will now refer to her as the fired chief.
Yeah. Now you just have to call her Kristen Crowley.
Kristen Crowley.
It's not chief.
Nope. Fired chief. Kristen Crowley has been let go, relieved of her duties in that capacity, rightly so. I mean, Karen Bass, as we discussed yesterday on the show, is on the blame everybody but herself tour. And obviously a lot of the blame is going to lie at the feet of the DEI hire that was Kristen Crowley in Los Angeles as the now fired chief of the fire department. Hopefully they'll get someone that is a little bit better at their job. 615-737-9986 as we continue to work through the news this afternoon. Happy to have you with us 20 until the top of the hour. Let me say this real quick because I've been remiss in not mentioning it before now. We have a big event that's coming up on March 4th, and you are invited. Now, sadly, Chris Webber, and I say this because Chris wants to be at these events so badly, but his duties compel him to be here in the studios of Super Talk 99.7 WTN running the show. Same with Ken Weaver. Ken Weaver would love to be out and about with us, but sadly, Ken has duties here at home base in the News Closet B. But I will be in attendance. And here's the deal, folks. I've made an agreement. I think if we fill the Nashville Palace, I'll just go ahead and get a buzz cut.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
That's a bold claim.
Dude.
I think you're going to rue that statement.
Hey, Chris.
Am I going to rue?
You're going to rue it.
I don't want to rue. I don't want to rue it.
Chris, you ought to do that too.
I already rue it. I already rue it.
Yeah. As soon as it came out of your mouth, you were like...
As soon as I said it, I rued it.
You can look like me.
Look. If y'all are watching on Super Talk TV, this is the face of Matt ruing.
Ooh. It looks like you've got a rash.
How big? I'm getting itchy. How big a room is that, you think? That's a pretty big room.
It's a good-sized room.
That's the big room.
I think it can be filled.
It's the big room, right? All right, I'm gonna figure out how big the room is before I make a firm commitment. Because
you've already said it now. It's on tape.
So I'm getting my haircut on March 4th, come hell or high water. Mm-hmm. And I have a lead on somebody that might be cutting my hair. I've been talking to her. I was talking to her earlier today when we were talking, Chris.
Yeah.
And but I'm taking suggestions on the super text line. Someone willing to bring their stuff. I don't know why, but I want to get my hair cut in front of everybody. I mean, we've been doing locks for Trump for 356 days now. For 356 days, I've been growing my hair out for the man, and now it's time to get it cut. And I think by all estimations on the super text line, it's beyond time to get it cut. I mean, I got a mullet and a half going back here.
Yeah. Got some flow.
I got too much party in the back, Chris. I need more business. Mm. So we're getting it cut, and how much depends on how many people are there, I think.
You know what I think you should do? You should say like a $5 donation.
Mm-hmm.
Every $5 donation, someone gets to come up with a pair of scissors and cut a lock off.
Have you met some of our listening audience, though?
It's your hair. It ain't my hair.
It's not a matter of the hair. The hair will grow back. I just don't know if I want some of these folks. I mean, God bless you, Lindsay. I don't know that I want Lindsay near me with scissors. I mean, I love her.
What about a pair of clippers? Maybe with a little safety guard on.
Oops, that fell off.
Hey, has that got a safety guard on it? Yeah.
No, nothing. I don't want anything in her hands that buzzes. On the clipper front.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. One way or the other. Here's the deal.
Yes.
So you go to 997WTN.com. Back to the subject matter at hand. And you get yourself some tickets. You and a loved one, you can come by yourself. You can bring a group of people. It's a big place, Nashville Palace. I'm going to figure out how big it is. I'm going to figure out what capacity is. I want to know what the fire marshal rating is on it. And then I'll figure out if I'm willing to make a commitment on the buzz cut or not. And then we're going to have to figure out what the definition of buzz cut really is. One way or the other, the hair's going off, and if you're on the super text line, just give me an idea. If you are a barber or know a barber that you think would be willing to do this, what I need is somebody willing to come out and be with us, and you'll get some free pub as a benefit to all of this. We'll talk about your barbershop, but at some point during the proceedings, I start my show at 3 o'clock. The rest of the gang shows up at 6. Like at 6:30 or so, I'm going to get my hair cut on the main stage. So there you go. And I think that I might have the possibility of donating to a Locks of Love or something like that. I don't know that it's quite long enough for that, but we'll figure all of that out. But if we can fill this joint, man.
What I'm seeing is the total capacity at that place is 725. That's the front bar and the back bar.
Mm-hmm.
Back is the big room.
We get 700 people there, I'll buzz cut my hair. I would do the buzz cut.
Yeah.
If we got 700 people there, I would do it.
Wow.
I would do it. But I define what a buzz cut is.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
Well, I mean, it has to fall under the parameters of, buzz cut.
Yeah.
What?
Well, maybe there's a definition of a buzz cut.
Well, let's take the loosey-goosey definition if there is one. Could we please?
Let's get the military barbers.
No. We don't need anybody from the United States military calling in telling us what a buzz cut is. If we get 725 people at Nashville Palace on March 4th, I'll cut my hair as short as y'all want to.
Oh,
how about that? That's the
Get
deal.
the straight razor out.
99. No, not you. You won't be there. Only people there who get to participate in any of this.
Well, I'll still get to laugh at you.
Well,
the next day.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you think this looks bad, wait till there's no hair there. That would look really bad. Anyway, March 4th, the big event we would love to see. And in all seriousness, it is our first. I'm excited because it's our first opportunity to get together to celebrate Trump's victory, right? I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, I understand he's doing a speech that night at 8 o'clock, and it's not technically a State of the Union, although it is a State of the Union. And I understand that that's all well and good, and he will be addressing the nation on accomplishments that he's already made over the first couple of months of his presidency, less than 2 months of his presidency, and that's all well and good, too. Bottom line is this, though, folks. It is a celebration of what happened on November 5th. The last time we were together was at the Wilson County Ag Center. Remember that? The night of the big election. And we weren't quite sure when we broke up at 12 o'clock that night, weren't quite sure what was going to happen. I went home and watched another 3 hours of reporting as the results came in. And overnight, we discovered that Donald J. Trump was the 47th president of the United States of America. It's our first opportunity to celebrate that fact. And I want to do it with you. Nashville Palace. 3 o'clock doors open. Official proceedings start at 6. Dan Mandis, Chad Benson, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, and you. And if there's 725 of you, I'm getting my hair cut one way or the other at the event. But if there's that many folks, I'll do whatever the audience wants me to do. How about that? All right, so Donald Trump has been on a tear today. He has a number of subjects that he's been discussing with the mainstream media, the assembled press. But before he got into that, he was offering remarks about the NCAA and their decision to comply with an executive order involving preventing male athletes from participating in female athletics, female sports. We are stopping biological males from competing within female athletic endeavors. We talked to Riley Gaines about that couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact. She came on the show to discuss the signing of that executive order. She was in attendance. Donald Trump, you've got to love this guy. Whatever. I understand that there are some people that don't care for his style. But don't you have to appreciate at very least his willingness, no matter who's in the room, to call it like he sees it? Because Donald Trump, as he was discussing the NCAA's decision to comply with these orders, he realized that Maine, the state of Maine, had not yet agreed to abide by his executive order. And he was sitting in a room full of governors. And at some point, Donald Trump said, wait a minute, is Maine here? And Maine said they were. And here's that exchange.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Oh, man, oh, man. You mess with the bull, young man, you get the horns. Yeah, that's the governor of Maine. I don't even know who the governor of Maine is. Sounded like a female.
I saw a picture of her, so yeah, it's a female.
I don't want to assume anything, though, Ken. Not in 2025.
Janet Mills.
Janet Mills is the governor of Maine, and Janet said, we're complying by state and federal law. Well, I mean, we are the federal law, right? I mean, we've signed the executive order, so you need to abide by that. If you don't want your federal money, then that's fine. I'll see you in court. Okay, we'll see you in court. And then Trump couldn't help himself right at the end there. Yeah, he said.
Good. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Oh, you want to mess with this one, just go away. Well, by the way, why is she picking this fight? For what percentage of her population? I mean, even if I include those that agree with this nonsense about biological males participating in female sports, I mean, you're talking about what, 10, 15% of your population at most? I mean, there are plenty of ways for liberal governors to combat Donald Trump. I understand it. I get it. I mean, if you disagree with him fundamentally on some of his issues, if you disagree with him on tariffs or disagree with him on foreign policy or disagree with him on this thing or that thing, there are plenty of ways to disagree with this guy. But Donald Trump takes these 80-20 issues, as we call them, and in this case, I don't even know if it's an 80-20 issue. I think it's more like a 90-10 issue. And this woman just decides she's going to dig her heels in and, okay, if this is the hill you want to die on, lady, this is the hill you get to die on. 51 after the hour. Speaking of dying on hills, I'm getting a little uncomfortable because a lot of people are saying they're going to the event now at the Nashville Palace.
Make it happen, folks. Make it happen.
I don't know. 725. That's a lot of folks, though. I don't know. I think we had that number at the election. That's what worries me.
I think it could happen.
997WTN.com. Don't go. Just don't. I take it all back. I don't want you there. I don't want anybody there. It's 51 after the hour on Super Talk. When you're home, how do you keep your important valuables secure from theft or from fire? Do you hide them under your bed? Do you hide them in a drawer in the bathroom or the bedroom? There's no better way to secure your valuables than to purchase a quality safe from Nashville Safe House. And I encourage you to get over there where they have over 200 safes in the showroom, in stock, on display. They have even more safes in their warehouse. As a matter of fact, Mark was telling me that oftentimes they have as many as 600 safes on site or in the warehouse. Why? Because they want to have the one that's right for you, ready to go for professional delivery. Oh, by the way, they never let a third-party company or a third-party group deliver your safe, which is sadly what some of the other guys do. You're going to allow somebody to come in with the code to your safe and put your safe and know where your safe is in your house, and that company doesn't really know who those people are? Never the deal at Nashville Safe House. They offer discreet professional delivery and installation by their own specially trained Safe House crews. Do not allow a crackhead to deliver your safe. Allow Nashville Safe House to take care of that for you. They have all the popular name brands. They're right there on 4th Avenue South. Go by and see them and tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House online, NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
We'll let you hear what Kash Patel is saying, I should say, after he was just sworn in as the nation's new FBI director. Got that for you coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I cannot stop listening to this exchange between Donald Trump and the governor of Maine. I mean, Donald Trump now has announced that he wants to rename Maine FAFO. I stole that joke from the Twitter machine. But I thought it was good enough to share with you. Yeah, if you're just joining us, Donald Trump just to Maine's face, like, you better start complying. Well, I'll comply with state and federal law. Well, I'm the federal law, and you better start getting with it. Now, obviously, Donald Trump signed an executive order, and the NCAA has decided to comply with that executive order. Other states have determined that they will also comply with the order. It's not that hard. We're not going to allow biological males to compete. Look, nobody is suggesting that transgender athletes cannot start their own division. That's fine if there are enough transgender athletes to compete in sports. Otherwise, compete at the level of your biological birth. If you were a male at biological birth, compete as a male. If you're a female at biological birth, or you're a biological female at birth, compete as a female. And recognize that if you are one of the very few individuals that are experiencing legitimate gender dysphoria, that the world is not set up for you. The world cannot possibly be set up for every abnormality or contingency in it. And you have to expect that certain aspects of your life are going to be a little more difficult than other people's. That's just the reality of what we're dealing with, folks. We're not going to change civilization for 0.2% of the civilization. We're not going to do it. And we're not going to alter women's athletics permanently to the detriment of the females competing for the biological males that want the benefit of competing against females. We're not going to do it, whether the Maine governor wants us to or not. More coming up with Bruce and your telephone calls on the way, and Fri-Jay is on the docket today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Kash Patel was just sworn in as FBI director by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Here's what he had to say, starting with thanking President Trump.
I want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader he has been. And the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, that sounds pretty freaking cool. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend, you're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate that trust. The men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution. So thank you for entrusting me, Pam.
Meanwhile, the Associated Press has filed a lawsuit over White House access restrictions over its refusal to go along with President Trump renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And President Trump can resume putting USAID employees on administrative leave and recalling others from overseas, which clears the way for efforts to overhaul the agency as part of the plan to cut the size of the federal government. That's what a judge said today. Firings have started at the Federal Aviation Administration. And all these firings, Georgia Republican Congressman Rich McCormick faced an angry constituent at his town hall last night.
By and large, the president has great purview over where a lot of this money goes. Now, some of this is going to be litigated.
President Trump not happy with the pace of deportation. Neither is border czar Tom Homan. So today, the acting ICE director, Caleb Vitello, was reassigned. Reports say Holman has also been upset with media leaks coming out of ICE that he said has led to fewer arrests than ICE has anticipated in certain operations. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says Kristen Crowley let 1,000 firefighters go off duty the day of the Palisades fire.
Acting in the best interest of Los Angeles Public Safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief.
Louisville Metro Police say they were called to a shooting today at the Driver Licensing Center in Valley Station. 3 people were killed.
Absolutely a tragedy, and I'm surprised that there wasn't more people injured because many people were standing outside.
Police say they were still looking for the suspects. The man charged with stabbing author Salman Rushdie in 2022 has been found guilty of attempted murder after an 8-day trial in New York. 27-year-old Hadi Matar accused of rushing onto the stage and stabbing the 77-year-old author more than a dozen times in the neck, stomach, chest, hand, and right eye, leaving him partially blind. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch got a crash blocking the right lane off-ramp. That's going to be 24 eastbound to Harding Place. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you on a Friday edition. Man, Donald Trump is all over the place this afternoon, has been for the last month or so. I've got several clips on several different subjects to include Hamas and Israel and the sad events over the last 24 hours, horrific events over the last 24 hours. I mean, if you did not believe that Hamas was a bunch of ghouls before now, I don't know what to tell you. We have Donald Trump's reaction to that. We also have this exchange that Donald Trump got into with the Maine governor, who's, you just told me her name. I can't remember it. But you know what? I don't even want to know. I don't really care. I mean, Donald Trump says she's going to be in the private sector pretty soon anyway. So I should not need to learn her name, but Chris Weber's going to tell us.
Janet Mills.
I'm going to write it down. Janet. Damn it, Janet. What was that from? Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror Picture
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Anyway, Janet Mills, the Maine governor, kind of got into a disagreement with the and all you do there is you say, we'll talk about it, Mr. President. Oh, sure, we'll get to it, Mr. President. But instead, she decided to be defiant. And, I'm certain that Elizabeth Warren and AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters and, many of the other squad members, they'll be out in force defending their girl, Janet Mills. Way to go, Janet. You stood up to him. And Donald Trump said, what are you talking about? Just do what I'm telling you to do. Just don't allow men to compete in women's sports. That's not that difficult. So we have that going on as well. And we'll get into some of that audio in just a moment. There was a Senate vote on an amendment presented by Kentucky Senator Rand Paul that several of you have asked me about. The amendment would have cut spending by at least $1.5 trillion. Rand Paul saying that he voted for fiscal responsibility and that we did so when we elected Donald Trump, and the Senate should vote for it now. Sadly, Rand Paul's amendment failed in the United States Senate by a considerable margin, and I have the 29 Republicans who joined every Democrat in voting his amendment down, wrongly so. One Tennessee senator voted in favor of Rand Paul's amendment, and one did not. Anyone want to guess who was who? We'll have that for you coming up in just a couple of minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why are most in the mainstream media refusing to talk about or cover the successes of Doge? We will discuss that on the program. But right now, it is a time for legal matters. That's right. It's an opportunity for you via the Super Text line to get in your questions. You can also do so on the phone lines, 615-737-9986, 737-9986, phone lines or text line. Get your legal questions in because, ladies and germs, it is Fri-Jay. Our man, Jay St. Clair, Tennessee native. He is the finest legal mind that I know. One of the greatest guys in my life. My best friend, my life consultant, my lawyer, and my golfing and gambling buddy. It's Fri-Jay, everybody. What is going on, Jay?
Hey, Matt.
Jay St. Clair, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
If I were any better, Matt, I would be Chris Webber.
Oh, really? Ooh, Chris Webber.
I would be Chris Webber.
Uh-huh. Why is that? Why is that?
Life would be good then, wouldn't it?
That's true.
He's doing pretty good.
He is doing pretty good in life.
Yeah.
I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Jay, have you ever had, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Have you ever had a buzz cut?
When I was very young, my dad was in the Air Force and was in charge of our haircuts until probably the 8th grade. So, yes, I think I have pictures from kindergarten. Well, I think he had a flat top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And technically, that may be just slightly different from a buzz cut. But I had, I'm sure, an Air Force regulation haircut until I was probably 10 or 11 years old.
Well, the reason I ask you, because as I introduced you, I introduced you as a lot of things, but Jay is each of those things in my life. And Jay acts as my legal counsel. And Jay, I fear that I have talked myself in a corner, and I want to talk to you about it. Because you
mean, wait a minute, you telling me that your mouth got you in trouble?
I mean, I know it's hard to believe.
I just want to know this. At any point during the conversation, did you say, well, call it up?
Well, I might have to say that eventually. I haven't said it yet, but I might have to say it eventually. So we have an event. Here's the backstory. I've been letting my hair grow out. My locks for Trump, right?
Right.
And I am free of all obligations to continue to grow it. And so we're talking about when we're going to get it cut. And we have an event coming up at the Nashville Palace. You would love this place, Jay. Love this place. It's right up your alley. I mean, there's a retro 1980s feel to it. The Nashville Palace is across the street from the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, and it's right beside Willie Nelson and Friends Bar and Cooters. Cooters from the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, this is our kind of place, Jay. Our kind of place. Right. Well, it's a pretty big joint. Now, according to Chris Webber, it holds about 700. I didn't know this when I made this declaration. It holds about 725 people. Okay?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I have already said that I'm getting my hair cut that night. I'm going to have
there. You're going to do it there?
I'm going to have a barber come with me, and a licensed barber is going to cut my hair on the night in question, March 4th, in just a couple of weeks.
Nice.
But I said today during the first hour of the show that if we fill the Nashville Palace, I'll get a buzz cut.
Matt, if Tennessee goes 5-0, if Tennessee goes 5-0 this year, knowing the fifth game was the Florida game, I will jump out of an airplane.
Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Oh, this doesn't.
Don't make my mistakes, Matt. You sat there and watched it happen.
I did. I didn't even
and now you're doing it again?
I didn't even think about it. So let me give you the backstory. So Jay and I were doing our Fri-Jay segments. We used to be able to do these in the same studio, and now Jay's in Beham and I'm in Nash. But we were in the studio, and I had the year before I jumped out of an airplane. I did a skydive for charity for one of our mutual good friends, and I knew how averse to heights Jay was. Jay is one of the more height-averse people that I've ever met. He does not care for heights.
Absolutely. I freely admit it.
And so we had Dustin. I think he was in the studio with us this day, and we were talking about it. And I said, Jay, and I was just messing with Jay, boy. I was just messing with him. And I said, Jay, you ought to jump out of an airplane with us. You ought to jump out of that airplane with us. And Jay got this look on his face, and he said, well, tell him what you said. That you just said, right?
Yeah. I said, well, I really want to do it, man. I really do, because it's for a great cause. Dustin's got a disabled child, and he's raising money for this real rare disease. And I wanted to do it, but I just knew I couldn't. And so I had to publicly commit to it. And so I said, you know what? I'll make a bet on a bet I can never lose.
Right.
I mean, there's no way I can lose this bet. Because I've forgotten who was in charge. Maybe Derek Dooley or somebody awful. And so I said,
I think it was Butch Jones, maybe, or something.
Maybe Butch.
Like that.
Yeah, well, that sounds right. So I said, Matt, I'm going to deal with you. If Tennessee goes 5-0, if they win their first 5 football games, I will skydive with you. Knowing that the fifth game was Florida on the road.
And there's no way.
No way I can lose that bet.
No way you lose that bet.
Yep. And so I jumped out of the airplane at 12,500 feet, I think at about 4:08 p.m. I can tell you everything about it.
Oh, it was one of the greatest days of my life. It really was.
Funny.
It was a lot of fun. It was funny. So I have done this, Jay. I've made the skydiving bet.
Well, good. Listen, it's time. I think you ought to cut it all off. And you know what may happen, man? Mm-hmm. This is really good. If you're blessed, if you're lucky, it may grow back the color of my hair. Think about that. Think about that.
Or the color of my scraggly beard. Yeah, that little.
Well,
gray.
you have I tell people all the time, you have no idea how much I have to pay to keep my hair this color. It's a fortune.
I mean, it's a beautiful head of hair, Jay. It's a beautiful head of hair. I like to say that God, my ability to continue to grow my hair is proof that there is a God and He's fair.
Yeah.
Because God gave me a very lumpy head. Very lumpy.
Oh, so it's covering up the bad parts.
Right. So, but God said, well, you know what? We gave him a lumpy head. Let him keep his hair. Let him. Yeah. That's a good Lord that would do.
Well, I like that. Well, the good book also says that gray hair is a crown of glory. So I wear mine proudly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good looking. If y'all aren't watching on Super Talk TV, you're not seeing it, but it's up there. And Jay, your hair looks great. Maybe you can get a buzz cut with me. I don't know. I'm not asking you to join me on this adventure, but 725 people, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And
that's good.
Well, trust me, before I get a buzz cut, I'm counting every single one of them. We're getting to fire code before I get that buzz cut. All right, we've got lots of questions coming in already, but I have a quick question for you, Jay, and it kind of is a reflection of something that we talked about earlier in the week. And I a couple of listeners wagged their fingers at me to a certain degree, and I probably deserved it because I said that I felt like, from an attitude standpoint, that government employees were entitled, that they came off as entitled. And I stood by that. And obviously, I'm speaking in generalities. I'm not talking about every single government employee, state or federal, obviously. However, we had a good conversation about that. And it occurred to me as we were preparing that that you're a great person to ask this question, being that it is your area of expertise. What are the differences between public employment or government employment and employment in the private sector? What would you identify as the big differences?
Yeah, and before I do, let me just say this. I think my connection is a little bit unstable, Matt, and so if it gets too bad, just let me know. We'll jump over to a telephone.
Okay, very good, very good. You sound fine on our end.
Okay, good. I would say this: if they're in the civil service, and not all federal employees are, but most of them are, 80% or so, I would say the biggest differences, man, is number one, job security. They are not employees at will, like most private sector employees are, meaning that the government has to have just cause, basically, to terminate them. So that's a big difference. Number two, and this is a really big difference, is benefits. I mean, the benefits that public employees have are remarkable. Most of them, Matt, are still, in addition to 401k, right? Everybody now has a 401k. They still get a pension in addition to the 401k, and pensions in the private sector are all but gone. And then the third thing I would say, the big difference, is the pay level is
It was almost forecast by our man. I'll tell you what, it's good timing though, because what we'll do is we'll go to a short time.
On average, I've looked at these wage surveys, is a little bit better than.
Wow!
Oh, he's trying to catch up for him.
It's like it caught up.
All right, pull him down, and we'll get back to him on the phone line. We have a little bit of a janky connection. We're trying to do the Zoom. We're trying to appeal to our Super Talk television side of things. 19, almost 20 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll be back in just a moment with more Fri-Jay and your calls and questions coming up. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare offers affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine, a direct pay system for your primary care provider. Why does that benefit you? Well, it's a cheaper price point. Honestly, it's a less expensive price point because you can pay through their basic Smart Care plan $69 a month, and you receive unlimited office visits for the entire year. Think about that for a moment. Plus, they have family plans available as well. Ask them about that, and they offer free basic labs and diagnostics with that plan. At Grace Point, you don't have to be a basic Smart Care plan holder in order to come on in because they allow just visits anytime you want. You just dial them up and you schedule that appointment and they're ready for you. And oh, by the way, you don't have to wait weeks on end for an appointment at Grace Point Healthcare. They don't do their business that way. They oftentimes can see you same day or next day, even for brand new appointments. And if you're too sick to come in, they even do house calls at Grace Point Healthcare. I mean, they call it modern medicine the old-fashioned way, and it truly is that, folks. They have a personal approach, and the doctors at Grace Point Healthcare, they're never there to get you into a prescription. They're never there to sell you a pharmaceutical. They're there to solve problems. And if they can do that in a more natural way, they do it at Grace Point Healthcare. I love that about them. I love that they're a military veteran-owned practice, and I love that they're right here in Franklin. Give them a call and schedule an appointment today, 599-6868, 599-6868 for Grace Point Healthcare.
Here, an East Nashville woman described the moment a man came to the door to ask if her family knew a girl and what happened after they said no. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yes, indeed. Thank you, Ken Weaver. 25 after the hour, Matt Murphy and you. You can find us on a variety of platforms to include 99.7 FM on the radio dial. Obviously, we're on every streaming app known to mankind. We have our own. Find us at Supertalk 99.7 WTN and Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We were serving that master until she bucked us, and so now we have to revert to the telephone. But luckily, we've got the telephone line available for Jay St. Clair and for you if you have any questions for Jay. Jay, it was just noted by a loyal listener to this program that if Jay St. Clair signed up for an Ask Jay segment at Nashville Palace on the night of March 4th, we would certainly see Matt Murphy getting a buzz cut that evening because we would be full. I'm just throwing it out there.
What? Tell me the day again.
March 4th.
What day of the week?
That's I want to say that's a Tuesday. That is it's during the week.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Yeah, it's a Tuesday. The president's giving an address that night, kind of a pseudo State of the Union. It's not technically a State of the Union, but Jay, you know you're always invited. There's a Gaylord Opryland Hotel right next door.
Would I get paid overtime rates?
Absolutely. Of course, I can make that commitment. I'll go ahead.
Half my regular rate.
A time and a half, the regular amount of payment that we. Jay.
Yeah.
Double time.
No.
Oh, boy. All right. Donald's got a question for Jay. And, Donald, you are first up on our Fri-Jay segment. What's up, Donald?
I would just like to ask, when does child support end in Tennessee?
You know, that's entirely a function of your divorce agreement or your child support agreement, Donald. So that's the first place to look is your agreement. Almost always it runs through the age of majority, which I think it's 18. 18 in Tennessee.
That sounds right.
But you know, there are occasions, for example, in the order, it may obligate you to pay some college expenses. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, Donald. What you need to do is look at your divorce decree or any other orders that deal with child support.
All right, thank you so much. You have a good day.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Donald. Appreciate the telephone call. As other telephone calls come in, I will begin going down the list of questions on the super text line. Ask Jay. See, this is why I love our audience because I've got serious, I've got a little bit non-serious. Now, this is one of the serious questions, Jay. This is one of the serious.
It's kind of like my practice in real life, man.
I guess that's true. Ask Jay what he thinks about NASCAR not throwing the caution and let that Byron boy win and screwing that Jones kid out of the victory. I don't know about that. I don't know.
Oh, I love it. Well, it was the last lap.
It was the last lap.
And, you know, it's so funny. There's conspiracy theories everywhere. And I'll say this about it. Here's what I will say, though, in all honesty. These are split-second decisions. I've heard the guys talk about it, the competition. I mean, split seconds, man. They have to make that decision within 1 second. Mm-hmm. And it's like fighter pilots. And they want, I guarantee you this, NASCAR wants every race to finish under green. That's their bias. They want every race to finish under green.
Yes.
And in that split second, if they think it's going to be safe, then they'll let the race finish under green. The wreck was on the backstretch. They'd already gotten the ambulance over there. They were confident they could slow the cars down before they got to the accident. But no.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I agree with you on everything you just said. I think if it's on a shorter track, regardless of the lower speeds, they probably throw the caution.
You got the flag, right? Because the wreck was a mile away from them,
right?
Even though they went 190 miles an hour. But I get it. You know, everybody. It's we all see things. It's like replays in football. Right, and well, he clearly was out. Oh, he wasn't out of bounds. It all depends on what team you're rooting for.
And I've long said this, and about when you apply it to football, it's more clear that
two people can sit there and watch the exact same play and never agree on what the call should be.
Right, and and same deal. I'm just glad Joey Logano didn't win. That's all I'm saying. Or Denny Hamlin. So let's see. What, Matt and Jay, how can a state infringe on the Second Amendment? In other words, requiring a carry permit and that sort of thing. That comes from Mario, who writes in from Tennessee.
It's a great question, Mario. The answer to that is a state cannot infringe on the Second Amendment. They can't. So what you're really asking is, does the Second Amendment allow states, or the federal government for that matter, to require people to have a permit to carry weapons under certain circumstances? Most time it's concealed carry.
Mm-hmm.
And the courts have ruled that it is legal to require people to have a permit to conceal carry, that's permitted under the Second Amendment. Now, it can't be such a difficult process that hardly no one can get that permit. Some state up northeast was like that. I mean, it may have been New York, actually, where it was just these incredibly onerous rules, Matt, to get that private carry permit, and the court said that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
But if all you have to do is pay a fee and then maybe get a background check, then that is not violating the Second Amendment.
It's well spoken. Let's talk with Joe is in Birmingham with a question for Jay St. Clair, I think. Hey, Joe, what's up?
Yeah. What's going on, Matt? This is Joe. I'm
Joe. Hey, Joe, do me a favor. I made an accident. The host has committed an error because it's time for the news, and I apologize to you, and I apologize to Jay, and I apologize to Ken Weaver because we're about a minute late, but we're going to get to the news, and we'll get back to more Fri-Jay right after this on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Kash Patel officially sworn in as FBI director.
The men and women at the FBI who make us safe deserve better, and they are going to get it with our leadership and your support. God bless America, and God bless every one of you. I love this country.
President Trump was on hand today as Vice President J.D. Vance swore in newly confirmed U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick in the White House.
It's the greatest honor to work for you, to be with you, to carry your name, your leadership, and your flag throughout the world.
A terrified bystander describes a shooting today at a driver licensing center in Louisville where 3 people were killed.
He's coming like running with the pistol and facing the cannon gun towards us and start to boo, boo, boo.
Police looking for suspects. And here in Nashville, a woman tells Channel 4 a man came to her family's door Tuesday night, asked if they knew a girl. They denied. Moments later, multiple shots were fired.
We were sitting on the couch and a bullet came through the window, went through our computer monitor, and probably missed my husband's or my head by like inches.
Police say the suspect made his way from the Solo East condominium complex to Gallatin Pike, possibly got into a 4-door gray sedan. And Metro Police say a convicted felon they arrested last night who was driving his Honda Accord at 100 miles per hour on I-24 West near Harding Place, had marijuana and pills on him, is already free on $18,000 bond. They say 35-year-old Terran Reeves has previous robbery, drug, and weapons convictions. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Woodbine got a crash reported by police 440 eastbound right before Nolensville Pike. And then in Berryhill got a crash. The right shoulder of the off-ramp is blocked. That's 440 to go I-65. I-24 westbound before Sam Ridley Parkway in Smyrna got a stalled vehicle blocking the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Staltz Co. Staltz Co. is the leading company in Middle Tennessee in the creation of post-frame buildings. They take incredible pride in providing high-quality custom structures at a reasonable price. They pride themselves on producing higher-quality buildings at a more reasonable price than anyone else in Middle Tennessee, or Southern Kentucky for that matter, whether it's a barn dominium, a pole barn, a garage, a foundation and concrete, just that alone, or an equestrian space, maybe an event space. They do it all at Staltz Co. If you have land and you have a dream, they can make that dream a reality with Staltz Co. Don't even consider buying a prefab building before you talk to the crew at Staltz Co. They are really good at what they do, and they create real asset on that property. So, equestrian space, pole barn, barn dominium, they do it all at Staltz Co. Go online and see some of these incredible structures at StaltzCo.com. That's STOLTZCO.com for more information, or better yet, call today with any and all questions you might have or schedule an appointment. 615-622-5992, 622-5992 for our friends at Staltz Co. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Your one-stop shop for all things Second Amendment is the one and only Glock Store. If you've not been by, what are you waiting on? The Glock Store has an incredible retail space, and they have the incredible, one-of-a-kind Shoot 270 rooms. You know, oftentimes you hear about indoor lanes at other places. The Glock Store has taken this up a notch. They don't do indoor lanes. They do indoor rooms. What that means is that you and a private instructor will go into a room, and by the way, for the entire month of February, you get a buy one, get one. So you get two for the price of one, so you can bring that loved one in your life at the Glock Store for their Shoot 270 experience. And it truly is a different type of shooting experience. You get more out of less. You get more training. You become a better and more confident shooter because a professional is there to tailor your session to your current level of shooting expertise. This is what it's all about at the Glock Store. Go to GlockStore.com and see the incredible selection of goods that you can get from the Glock Store, accessory, clothing, and, of course, long guns and handguns. And Shoot270.com. Shoot270.com. Tell them Murphy sent you to the one and only Glock Store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive to anywhere. I think I have some legal wiggle room. I was looking up the definition of buzz cut. A buzz, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to my attorney about all of this. Oh, who? Here he is. A buzz cut is a short haircut that's achieved by trimming hair with clippers until it's very short and uniform in length. became popular in the late 1800s when manual hair clippers developed into fashion. So there you go. So 725 people. If we get that number of people, then I think I'll let the audience decide how they want to make all of that happen. So Jay is with us. Fri-Jay continues on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and many of your questions coming in on the super text line, and I'm flipping over to said same right now, Jay. And as I wait for that to here we go. Matt, regarding federal court rulings against Donald Trump as the president of the United States, ask Jay if they are not clearly overstepping their bounds by the Constitution, and does Donald Trump have to get to the Supreme Court to get these overturned, or is there another step in the process?
When he says clearly overstepping the Constitution, I would say this. I disagree with some of these decisions just from a legal standpoint. I don't think they are correctly applying the Constitution. But on some things, reasonable minds can disagree. So I don't think that I would say clearly overstepping their bounds. But I do believe some of these decisions will be reversed. They cannot go directly to the Supreme Court. They would first have to go to the courts of appeal. In the federal system, there's 3 levels: district court, circuit court, Supreme Court. These are all happening at the district court, the first level. They have to go to the circuit court and then the Supreme Court. I hope I answered all your questions.
No, I think so. I think you did. Absolutely. And I agree. I agree that obviously there are some that are easier calls than others, in my opinion.
That's right.
And Archie writes in and wants to know from Jay, aside from birthright citizenship, what is Jay's biggest legal concern that he has noticed for the Trump team, if he has any?
That's a really good question, Archie. I'd have to think about that because I don't have all. Oh, I'll tell you what it may be. I'll tell you what it may be. There are some statutes, the removal of the inspector generals. There's a statute that says that the president has the right to remove them, but he has to give Congress some lead notice on it. I've forgotten what it is, 21 days, 30 days, whatever. And he did not follow that. Well, no, Olivia, I've got this one right. You don't have to argue with me about that one. My dog's barking. And so that one he might have a little bit of a problem with. But it's all this stuff, man, is very technical. The arguments they're making are very technical. It's even down to the point about, well, how do these various entities report up to the president? So to give a really informed opinion about each of them, I'd have to study each of them in depth, and I have not done that.
Hey, Matt, would you ask Jay St. Clair about a Doge website for the state of Tennessee? I think we run a tight ship, but transparency breeds accountability. Well, I guess that's just a general question, Bruce, but I think it's an interesting food for thought. I'll just ask you more broadly, Jay, your thoughts about this. I understand it's not necessarily – well, it might be a legal question in the sense that you brought up several weeks ago how inventive the Trump team was in creating this Department of Government and kind of utilizing an older department that not a lot of people knew about, the U.S. Digital Service, I think it's called.
No, absolutely. No, they've spent a lot of time on this, man. And a lot of smart people thought about this for a long time. The way they structured it is brilliant.
Mickey wants to say hi to Olivia.
Tell your dog I said hi. I'm going to get you one of those stickers. You remember the sticker I had? Tell your dog I said hi.
Tell your dog I said hi. And Mickey also says that Olivia is a gorgeous poochie.
Yeah, we posted her. Yeah, we posted
that's right.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
Hey, Matt, love your show. Question for Jay. My father got a felony involving domestic violence against my mother when I was 10. That's too bad. I lost him for years. I am grown now, and my voice matters more than when I was a 10-year-old, and I can confirm my father was not the wrongdoer. Wow. He would like to own a gun now, and I would love to get him one legally What are our steps in order to do this? Thank you,
He's
sir.
going to have to, we get this line. He's going to have to get that record expunged, and I'm sorry to tell you that is not an easy process. You can try to do it yourself, but it's tough. You really just got to get a lawyer. And you got to go through a long, complicated process to get that record expunged. By law, convicted felons can't own handguns. And so the only way to get out from underneath that, or possess them, they can't possess them. The only way to get it out from underneath that is to get the conviction expunged. And it's just not an easy process. You can try it on your own, but you're almost sure to fail. You just got to get a lawyer who specializes in that.
We have another question, Jay, asking if your hair was that color. Who is this? It's 2542. Yeah, 2542 wants to know, was Jay's hair that color before he jumped out of the airplane? That's a good question.
Okay, that's funny.
That's funny.
That is funny.
I can confirm that it was, by the way. I've seen it post jump and pre-jump, and it was the same color in both cases. Jay, can Joe sue Matt for putting him on the radio and immediately slamming the door in his face and taking him right back off the radio, even though he apologized? Jay, can I be sued for what I did against Joe earlier today?
Who's asking this question?
This is Tim asking that question.
Hey, Tim, I sure wish you were on the line right now, because I would ask you, Tim, what does it take to file a lawsuit? And I can't ask you that, so I'm going to ask Chris Weber. Chris, tell Tim what 2 things it takes to file a lawsuit.
Here he comes.
Chris isn't listening.
No, he's listening.
That would be, let's see, what, $400 on a crayon or something like that? Is that right?
I like to say, yeah, that's it. Exactly right. Yes, Tim, he can sue. All it takes is $400 in a crayon.
Matt, ask Jay if reckless endangerment. Now, I love these specific questions about Tennessee law, Jay, so I'll give you a second to. Is reckless endangerment a felony in Tennessee? Now, that's a specific one.
I'm going to just guess that yes. It is in almost every other state. I can look it up real quick, maybe during a break. But yes, reckless endangerment, I'm just almost certain under Tennessee law would be a felony.
Let's talk to Jerry next up on the line, who wants to ask a question to Jay St. Clair. It's Fri-Jay in session on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Jerry.
Yeah, my question is I understand the executive orders. He's reversing a lot of them, but what scares me, I don't like them, regardless of who's doing it, because I feel like it's circumventing the Constitution, and we're getting into a point of the Republic where we choose our own dictator every 4 years.
Right.
Is there any way we can stop this, or
yes,
get it to the
yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's a very simple way to do it, Jerry, and that is for Congress to do its job. Because what has been happening for decades, Jerry, is that Congress writes these very short laws, and then they give the real lawmaking authority to these agencies. And the agencies all report to the president. So they're really giving up their jurisdiction, so to speak, to the president. And so the way to change that is for Congress to go into all these laws where they have ceded their legislative power to the executive and take it back. You're exactly right that really since the New Deal, there's been a tremendous shift of power from Congress to the president. But it's been on purpose by both parties, Jerry, both parties. And so Congress only has itself to blame. They don't want to do the hard work of actually getting dirt under the fingernails and writing laws. So I agree with you 100%.
Jerry,
way too much that the Congress has ceded way too much of its legislative authority. And so when they cede it, they don't cede it to the president. They cede it to these departments and agencies. And here lately, they say, well, that's good because our people are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's what's changed, is the Trump people, they've figured out how to turn that on its head. And they say, oh, you know what? They're really not ceding it to these agencies. They're ceding it to the president.
Right.
And the president can tell every agency out there what to do. And so that's really kind of exposed the mistake Congress made in ceding so much of its authority to the executive branch. Yeah,
Jerry, and thank you for the call, Jerry. I mean, no, you're exactly right. I mean, you taught me years ago, and I love to use the example about OSHA.
Yep. No, it's just, and it's in so many different places. But OSHA says, we need to have safe workplaces. Well, let's pass a law. Okay. Well, they pass a law, Matt, and here's what it says. Every employer in the United States should have a safe workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And we hereby give the Department of Labor full authority to write all the regulations they want on what that means. End of law. That's what the law says. And then the Department of Labor regulations are 4,673 pages long.
I mean, right. And so the executive who is in charge of the Department of Labor can interpret those.
Tell them how to change the regulations.
Right. Can change the regulations at their whim, and so it cedes power from the Congress to the executive branch, and it's up to the Congress to get it back. And I suppose that the courts will have certain things to say about it, but if the Congress wants it back, they just have to do the hard work.
That's it. You said it exactly right.
Two final questions before we have to say goodbye. Matt, question for Jay. Do I need a specialized lawyer for wills and estate planning? And if not, how can I be sure to get a good one for those topics?
Those are great questions. It is so, hiring a lawyer, man, is kind of like hiring a doctor. You don't really know if it's a good doctor or not. And the only way really to find out is kind of word of mouth advertising. Here's what I would say. Tell me, is this Jerry? Or?
It was Rod.
Just
Rod. No, it's Rod.
Rod. Yeah. Okay, Rod. Rob, here's what I would say about that. There are many lawyers who do specialize in trust and estates, and I would go to one of those people. I just think your chances are better off to get a good result. There are general practitioners. That's what we used to call medical doctors that would do a little bit of everything. Well, there's still some of those lawyers around, and they'll do trust and estate. They might write a will today. They may handle a car wreck tomorrow. They may handle a criminal case on Friday. They do a little bit of everything. And you might get a good result there. But I would rather have somebody that all they do is write wills or handle trust and estates. I just think that's the thing. It won't cost you any more. And you're likely to get a better result.
And the final question of the day, ask Jay how well he knew my cousin, Junior Johnson, and does he have any good stories?
Wow. Well, if he's talking about the real Junior Johnson, I didn't know him at all, but I certainly knew of him. And a remarkable guy, just an absolutely remarkable guy. Incredible race car driver in his own right, incredible owner, crew chief.
Didn't Junior Johnson back in the day, he was one of the few NASCAR boys that actually served a little jail time for running for
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think he admits that he ran moonshine, and I think they put him in the pokey.
Well, stay out of the pokey this weekend, Jay. I hope you have a wonderful one, and as always, we enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
Take care. There's Jay St. Clair. Fri-Jay session is over. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. So it's been cold. Has your heater been ready? If not, you ought to call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy understands that it's hard to find someone you can trust when your heater goes out. And you just have to believe me when I tell you that Jeff Eddy's the best in the business. He is, and he'll demonstrate that time and again. He's not going to upsell you on a new unit unless it's absolutely necessary, and he'll go through it with you, or one of his qualified techs will. They'll explain to you exactly what's going on, what they can do to fix it, and what they can't do to fix it. And it's equally important as what they can do, because then if it's time to go with a new unit, they'll help recommend one. They're an elite pro partner with Rheem in that regard. Plus, Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling never charge you overtime rates at night or weekends. They don't believe in it. They think that they should charge you the same no matter what time of day it is because your heater doesn't know what time of day it is. So if your heater goes out, let's get it through the season by calling Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. And it's never too early to start preparing for that AC maintenance that is coming this spring. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling online at efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Need a bodyguard? There's an app for that now. Tell you about it at 5 and a whole lot more on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The glitches are improving.
The what?
The glitches.
Is that a code word?
No. The glitches are improving. I don't know what just happened. All of my computer screens just went out.
Oh,
well, my laptop screen did not go out.
Well, that's good.
I do have a wireless access to It's Brian's iPhone 13 Pro Max on my laptop, though. Should I click on that? You think that's Brian over in the traffic center?
Well, it could be, but it might not be.
It might, no, I don't think it's Wilson's.
No,
it's long gone. So the Wi-Fi went out, and then the computers went out, and our screen behind me is all sparkly. So I don't know. Maybe we'll make it at 7 o'clock. Maybe not. Let's find out together.
All right.
You know?
See what happens.
And Mike will get to you momentarily out of Old Hickory. Mike wants to talk about Kash Patel, and that just so happens to be the next subject on my lips. He was sworn in as FBI director today. We'll give you the subject and the audio coming up next.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Kash Patel officially sworn in as President Trump's pick to be FBI director.
What a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader he has been. And the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life.
President Trump said today he's considering moving the Postal Service under the Commerce Department because it's losing so much money, which, by the way, the Commerce Department is going to be led by newly sworn-in Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
It is the greatest honor to work for you, to be with you, to carry your name, your leadership, and your flag throughout the world.
The Associated Press has filed a lawsuit today against top White House officials for their efforts to block the AP from covering President Trump until the organization adheres to his order that the Gulf of Mexico is to be called the Gulf of America. And a judge has removed the pause on U.S. aid layoffs. Layoffs have hit the Federal Aviation Administration, says Stephen Portnoy.
The layoffs hitting the FAA have affected over 100 probationary employees. Despite the agency's insistence that no critical employees were let go, one who says she was just weeks shy of ending her probationary status told ABC News she's shocked her position was eliminated.
They have no one to replace us, and extensive institutional knowledge that takes years to learn and be certified in.
That woman worked on flight maps relied on by air traffic controllers.
Los Angeles fire chief who led the response to the massive Palisades fire last month has been fired by L.A. Mayor Karen Bass.
1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal.
And Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman today denying the Menendez brothers the chance of a new trial under habeas corpus, but the chance of freedom still remains alive.
This is separate from resentencing, another argument that they're making, that they have been rehabilitated in prison. He said he has not decided on that yet. There is a hearing in March where they will talk about resentencing, and he said he'll get around to that and decide in the next couple of weeks.
That's Alex Stone reporting. Need a bodyguard? There's an app for that now. One or a whole team can show up with the click of your phone. Here's Alex Stone again.
It's called Protector, and it's being described as Uber with guns. With the click of a button, like ordering an Uber, a user can order an armed bodyguard and can even choose how they should dress and what kind of black car is needed. It's not cheap. A membership is $129 a year, and rates are in the thousands of dollars. Law enforcement expert Bruce Thomas says he has questions.
What is their background? Are they just law enforcement? Are they just military? Have they gone to a bodyguard school? Have they gone to a protection school?
The company says its protectors are vetted and current or former law enforcement and military.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Men of Valor is such a wonderful organization. I'm so proud to be a part of that organization and to tell you about the wonderful work that they do every single day of the year. Now, one of their most special days of the year is coming up March 26th. It is their Men of Valor breakfast that happens at the Music City Center from 7 to 8:30 in the morning, and you are invited. As a matter of fact, you can find out more at movministry.com. That's movministry.com. You can become a sponsor. You can buy a table. You can buy a seat. But come and support this wonderful organization. It's one of their bigger fundraising events of the year. Men of Valor simply does this. They lower recidivism rates in Tennessee, and that helps save us money. But they also bring men to lives of service and to lives of God. They truly create men of integrity. They create men of valor. They maintain close relationships with their men long after graduation through their ongoing alumni fellowship activities, including monthly graduation and worship nights, as well as many, many other activities in their community. In other words, this is not a partnership that begins and ends in the prison system. It's one that goes on for life because it is a lifelong commitment. Go to movministry.com to find out more about the breakfast or more about Men of Valor, and tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
All right, Madison got a crash on the right shoulder, 65 northbound after Old Hickory Boulevard. And in Berry Hill, got a crash, right shoulder off-ramp block. That's going to be 440 westbound to go to 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, kids. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, underway for another hour, 5:07. Good afternoon and welcome in. I hope all of you are having a great day thus far. Many of you, I imagine, are having a better time of it right now because it is officially the weekend. If you get off at 5 o'clock, congratulations, you've made it. Many of you have a couple of days of rest and what I hope to be relaxation. And if not, if you're a weekend warrior, I like to remind folks during this time every week that we have so many weekend warriors that truly do make our weekend special, in as much as they protect us, whether they're our police officers, our firefighters, our EMTs, doctors, nurses, support personnel. Maybe they're just restaurateurs. I say just restaurateurs. I shouldn't say it that way. They're restaurateurs, convenience store workers. If you're working on the weekends and you make our weekends better, we thank you for that. And if you got a couple of days off, congratulations. We're here till 7 o'clock, so keep right here, and we'll try to entertain you until that time. We'll hand off to Mark Levin then. Speaking of entertaining, I hope we've been a bit entertaining today. A lot of you are getting tremendous joy out of the idea of me getting a buzz cut, which is nice. I mean, that's, I'm here. I'm here for the entertainment.
I mean, it's worth paying the $40 for the ticket to see you get it cut all off.
I would think so. So here's what I just sent to the boys. And I say the boys, and by the boys, I mean the fellas that you hear throughout the course of the broadcast day. That would be Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, Chad Benson, and me, Matt Murphy. Mm-hmm. And I also sent it to New Suit, Paul. I said, I announced today that I will be getting my locks for Trump cut live on stage March 4th at our big event at Nashville Palace. I've also announced that if we fill Nashville Palace, which is a 725-person capacity, according to you, Chris Webber, I will not only cut my hair, but I will get a buzz cut. And I followed up by saying, there you go. Y'all are welcome. That's taking one for the team, Murph. Chris Hand said it best. I really do think Chris Hand said it best when he said, Matt, you're a hero. It's so true. It really is.
Oh, boy.
It is true. And then Chris went on to say, highest bidder to a charity of Murphy's choosing picks the Bidding starts at $1,000. Pick clients against one. You know what? I mean, look, Just show up. If we fill the place, zoom, buzz cut. There you go. No tricks. No funny business. 725 people. Now, for those of you thinking about coming, that Chris mentioned the ticket price, $40 ticket price, but that gets you a full buffet.
That's right.
All-you-can-eat buffet or all-you-care-to-eat buffet. You also get all the drinks you can drink, non-alcoholic variety. If you want alcoholic beverages, they will be provided. We'll have entertainment. We'll have music. We'll have good fun and fellowship. I'll be there starting my show at 3 o'clock with my long, luscious locks for Trump. And at some point in the evening, those are going to get cut. How short depends on how many people are there. But we got to fill it by the time the haircut happens, and I think that's probably going to be around 6:30. So it's up to you folks.
You got to show up. You got to show up early.
That's right.
Yeah.
Show up early and be there and fill it up. And once the fire marshal shuts it off, all the hair comes off. There you go.
Can't wait.
There you go. There's not going to be a fire marshal, right?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, maybe now.
Does he count?
Yes, of course he. No, wait, no. What am I? No. Staff and the fire marshal do not count.
What about you guys? Do you count as capacity?
Well, I think I would probably need to count.
Okay.
Chad would need to count. Yeah. Chris is. I mean, and Dan's like half.
Half. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is that where we're going? I thought that's maybe where the joke was going, so I just decided to get on in there.
Yep.
If Weaver was there, he would be the other half. I just wanted to see if he was listening, and he was. Speaking of people listening, here's Mike again. Mike and I had a wonderful and spirited discussion. We're going to get into Kash Patel in a moment. We'll let you hear from the new FBI director in just a second. Donald Trump had a lot of things to say about a variety of issues, and I got a couple of clips for you in that regard. Plus, if you're wondering if we're going to get, I'm wanting to know when we get the good stuff. When we start finding about Area 51, we're supposed to get that. We're supposed to get the JFK files. We're supposed to get the RFK files. We're supposed to get the MLK files. We're supposed to get the FBI files. We're supposed to find out if we actually went to the moon or not. I mean, is this not the good stuff? I want to know the good stuff. Some of you want to know what really happened on 9/11. I think I know what really happened on 9/11, but some of you don't think we do. Let's go. Well, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America, had something to say about this. We're going to get to that in just a moment as well. But first, it's Mike's turn. Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
Man, Mike, I'm great. I hope you are.
I am, and I'd like to ask you kind of a question.
All right. I'd like to provide you an answer.
I got Kash Patel. Finally, thank God. Now, I'm going to give you a little scenario on where this country's going. I'm a little girl selling lemonade on a street corner, and then she's selling it for 10 cents per drink. And then somebody comes up and says, I'm not going to pay 10 cents. And she says, well, that's all I have. That's the only way I can make money. And he says, well, I'm only going to pay you 5 cents. And then she turns around and says, I can't make money like this. And then says, I've got 3 lemons here, sir. I'm going to charge you 15 cents per lemon. Now do you want to pay my 10 cents? And that's what tariffs are about. You understand that, Matt?
I don't think this little girl's going to be making money only charging 10 cents for lemonade. I mean, I think in order to make money on that lemonade, you're going to have to charge at least, I don't know, 50 cents or maybe $1, Mike. What do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that little girl figured it out. I can't stand here on the corner selling lemonade for 10 cents when somebody comes up to me from a foreign country and says, I'm not going to pay you 10 cents. I'm going to pay you 5 cents. And she turns around and says, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to charge you 10 cents and maybe 5 cents more.
For our listeners out in the hinterland, I like to say listeners out in Aniana. That's what I've always said about this. But for those who perhaps don't quite understand what you're referring to, Mike, how would you define, how would you define tariffs?
Tariffs. It's a bargaining tool. It means that President Trump has the bargaining tool to say, you people have been ripping us off for decades. You're charging us tariffs, then we're going to go just back to basics, 50-50. In other words, you charge me 50%, I'm going to charge you 50%. And then the president says, now we're going to get to competing for jobs, businesses, everywhere. If we're on the same playing field, like that little girl was selling her lemonade, you know what? Get me on the same playing field, sir. I'll charge you the lemons, so we're on the same playing field. Then we win, because the American people and the businesses and Elon Musk and all entrepreneurs can make businesses in this country defeat anybody.
So you're describing, and very accurately so, Mike, I might add, you're describing how Donald Trump plans on using tariffs to benefit the United States.
Believe it or not, if the tariffs go up and up and up, it's only for one reason, to get rid of tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to screw me, then I'm going to screw you. But if you want to stop screwing me, I'll stop screwing you.
Right. So,
and then we get into a competitive market around the world where everybody benefits.
I'm trying to not interrupt you, Mike. So when you interrupt me, that's when I stop talking, okay? Because I'm trying to be respectful of you. What I was going to say is that you have adequately and very succinctly described the way that Donald Trump uses tariffs in order to negotiate. But what tariffs actually are, they are taxes on imported goods and services, right?
Yes.
Right, so...
But they're taxes on everybody. And if we say, you know what, we get together and go, why are we taxing each other? Why are we always taxing each other? Why don't we just stop doing this, get rid of the tariffs, and get into competitive advantage around the world economically?
Right. Okay.
So that, you know what, Germany can compete with us. We can compete with China. China can compete with Britain. And we can stop this killing and these wars.
I mean, if everybody agreed to eliminate all the tariffs, then that would be all well and good. But we still have a trade imbalance that we have to address. Mike, I do have to move along. You seem in a better humor than you were yesterday, and I'm glad for that. You seem in a good mood. You got big plans this weekend, Mike?
Kash Patel, he got it 10-year, and we're gonna get to the bottom of this corruption of the last 15 years.
Well,
we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Let's hope so. Mike, thank you for the call. A lot of reaction to Mike's call, as there was last night. You know, for example, 1720. I don't know that y'all keep saying that Mike's in the sauce. I don't think that Mike's in the sauce. Do you think Mike's in the sauce, Chris?
I don't believe so. No.
I don't think he was. I mean, he made a decent point. I mean, he described the manner in which Donald Trump utilizes tariffs to his own advantage. I mean, tariffs are taxes on imported goods and services, and Donald Trump is attempting to utilize those tariffs in order to benefit domestic production, right? I mean, he's trying to create a better balance and to encourage even foreign companies to come to the United States of America and do their business over here, as opposed to doing their business elsewhere and then shipping those goods or services to this country. I guess in that case it would be specifically goods rather than services. Chris wants to know if Mike's coming to the March 4th event. Well, I mean, I have his number. I did not call Mike. I will. That's on me. I was busy this morning, had other things going on. But Chris Webber did his job, and he got Mike's number. And I told Mike that if he wanted to have a good time on March 4th, that I would buy him a ticket. Now I have to figure out if Mike counts against the 125 total or the 725 total.
Well, and don't forget, you got to get on the horn with Elon. You got to get Elon to show up.
Oh, that's right. Elon's, but my gosh, no. See, I'm not calling Elon now. If Elon comes, everybody's going to come, and I have to do the buzz cut. Well, well,
got yourself into trouble.
I tell you what, if Elon showed up, I would be more than willing to cut my hair. Gene says Mike's deep in the sauce. Yeah, I mean, maybe like A1 sauce or Heinz 57, which is my personal favorite. 615-737-9986. Here's the deal. Pam Bondi has a few things to say. I'm not even going to make you wait for this. I'm going to give this to you before the break. I could do a professional tease and tell you what's coming up, but let's just listen to Pam Bondi earlier today on Fox News talking about her role as Attorney General and what of the Epstein list. Let's listen in. You got me over there? Huh. I don't know what's going on then. Maybe that blip.
It's sitting.
The
DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so that's your tease, right? This is a step closer than I ever thought we would get to the Epstein list. I'll be honest with you. I never thought we would get anywhere close to the Epstein list. But now Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America, says it's on my desk. I've not seen anything that makes me say, oh, my gosh, as of yet. But it's on my desk, and I'm ready to review it. What say you? Do you think we'll ever see the Epstein list? 615-737-9986. Do you think we'll ever see inside of Fort Knox? 615-737-9986. Look, if we see the Epstein list, color me surprised. Let's put it that way. Back in a moment. Hello, friends. Dickens Turf and Landscape is your source for Kawasaki engine parts and service. They carry Kawasaki engine parts and lubricants for your lawn equipment. Why? Because, well, Kawasaki engine service and parts, they're just the best in the business, as is Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Spring is almost here, believe it or not, and it is time right now to apply those pre-emergents. I listen to the experts when it comes to this, folks. You'll get a nice, luscious lawn if you do the same. Your lawn and your landscape needs to stop those summer weeds right now. All of their locations are stocked up and ready to go to help your property for the new year. Come on down and talk to a turf expert today. And also buy Kawasaki where the pros buy, Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. You can visit them online at DickensSupply.com. That's DickensSupply.com. So go where the pros go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. When you're looking for quality parts, products, and the best advice in the business, there's only one stop. And there's 7 different locations: Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Moore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. Online at DickensSupply.com. That's DickensSupply.com.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has just handed President Trump a setback. We'll tell you about it at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, I'm not going to tell you about it right now then, because Ken Weaver's going to tell you about it at 5:30. But at 5:35, 5:37, somewhere along in those lines, I'm going to opine on the news that is breaking in less than 5 minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're also going to offer you some nincompoops in the news. Hell, it might be the Supreme Court. You never know. You never know, depending on what that news, what news pops out of Ken Weaver's newscast in a couple of minutes. By the way, Kash Patel is now official, and a lot of folks in the United States Senate are very excited about that, those that voted on his confirmation. Here was the scene earlier today as he was officially announced. It's my understanding Senator Marsha Blackburn was there. We were hoping to get an opportunity to talk to Senator Blackburn about this and some other matters happening in D.C. The timing didn't work out. Initially, they wanted to talk to us at 1:30. I had to tell them that I was no longer on the radio at 1:30. It was okay. It's all good. I know. It's confusing. We were on from noon until 3. Now we're on from 3 until 7. But this was what the scene sounded like.
I want to hurry and get him sworn in because I'm the happiest person today ever. All right, here we go.
Here's Pam Bondi stepping up to the microphone. There's Kash Patel. I assume that's Kash's wife, and it looks like his son there.
Girlfriend, I think.
Girlfriend? Is that right? Okay, very good.
I do solemnly swear.
I, Kashyap Pramod Patel, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Well, there you go. There's the swearing in.
Defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
All enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
And there's that. That's what it sounded like earlier today as Pam Bondi swore in the new FBI director who has committed to opening up the FBI to a level of transparency unseen in its history. Is this right? Did I see this correctly, that he's only the 9th FBI director?
I saw that as well, yeah. I thought that was very interesting.
I think it's a little skewed because of J. Edgar Hoover. Because I want to say that the FBI was formed and J. Edgar Hoover was the head of the FBI for like 50 years. I think that's about right. And then after that, you've had any number of them.
Yeah, Hoover was FBI director from 1924 until 1972.
That's 48 years.
Almost 50 years.
Almost 50 years. And then now they serve in 10-year increments. And so although, several of them, James Comey comes to mind, did not make it his 10 years. Christopher Wray did not make it his 10 years, offering his resignation as opposed to being fired by President Trump. And now Kash Patel, the 9th FBI director in the history of that organization. Richard is in Smyrna next. Hello, Richard.
How's it going, man?
I'm well, Richard. I hope you are.
I'm better than I deserve. I'll tell you what, you're trying to back out on this haircut thing. I can tell right now because building occupancy includes staff, employees, because it's based on the building's capacity to safely evacuate everyone present during an emergency, including employees. So you have to count them.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll
abide. Back out of it.
Okay. I'll abide by that. So if we are told by some official within that facility at Nashville Palace that we have reached capacity, that's when I should.
You get a buzz cut.
I get the buzz cut. Okay. Richard, I'll stand by.
Straight, Matt.
I'll stand by my word. You told me the news, and there it is. So Richard says staff counts, guys.
I'm sweating a little bit now.
I'm going to need the Nashville Palace to work on a skeleton crew that evening if you can. I'm not sweating it. I don't, okay, here's the thing.
Are you trying to convince me or yourself here?
I'm trying to convince me. So here's my trouble is that I've learned, I can't even talk. I have learned not to doubt this listening audience.
Yep.
I should have, after 25 years, learned not to allow my mouth to write checks that my hiney cannot cash. However, that's what happened earlier today. So as soon as I say there's no way we get over 700 people in that facility,
they're going to turn them away, man. They're going to be lined up.
Well, I mean, if that happens, I'll come out and see those of you in the parking lot that can't get in with my freshly shorn head. It is 31 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And the U.S. Supreme Court just handed President Trump a setback. SCOTUS says the pause on Trump's bid to fire the head of the Office of Special Counsel stays. U.S. aid firings are back on. A federal judge today declined to block the Trump administration from putting thousands of employees with the U.S. Agency for International Development on administrative leave and recalling others from overseas. Layoffs have hit the Federal Aviation Administration, says Stephen Portnoy.
The layoffs hitting the FAA have affected over 100 probationary employees. Despite the agency's insistence that no critical employees were let go, one who says she was just weeks shy of ending her probationary status told ABC News she's shocked her position was eliminated.
President Trump is not happy with the pace of deportation. Neither is Border Czar Tom Homan. So today, the acting ICE director, Caleb Vitello, was reassigned. Homan's also been upset with media leaks coming out of ICE that he said has led to fewer arrests than anticipated. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass fired Fire Chief Kristen Crowley today. She led the response to the Palisades fire last month.
1,000 firefighters that could have been on duty on the morning the fires broke were instead sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. These actions required her removal.
And in money news, sales of existing homes are dropping. Mortgage rates have been hovering around 7% this year, more than double the record low of 2.65% a little over 4 years ago. That, plus the rising price of existing homes, keeping many would-be buyers at home. Home price is also a deterrent. The national median sales price up nearly 5% in January from a year earlier to just under $397,000. In Nashville, Realtor.com says the median listing price last month was $545,000. The median home sold price was $480,000. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Williamson County, Cool Springs got a crash and the left two lanes are blocked. 65 northbound before Moores Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the Dr. Poss and Dr. McLaughlin Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Easy for me to say. So, are you sleeping well at night? Do you feel like you're not? Are you waking up a lot? Do you know that you have sleep apnea? Do you suspect that you have sleep apnea? If any of these questions are answered with an affirmative, then I want you to get to the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center and allow the gang at the center to diagnose you, to figure it out, and if so, to find you that FDA-approved oral device. It is such a great invention. It's such a great modernization to the old school CPAP machine. I mean, because I couldn't wear a CPAP machine if I wanted to, right? I mean, the hose and the mask, it would be too invasive. With the FDA-approved oral device, it goes in your mouth. It's like a mouth guard. It's like a retainer, if you will. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. You don't notice it after a night or two. It's just there, and it helps you sleep. You do notice the results, though. You sleep better. You breathe better. You don't snore anymore, and you get that full and wonderful night's sleep, and it has health benefits galore. Go talk to Dr. Poss and Dr. McLaughlin about how they can assist. There's 2 locations, one's in Murfreesboro and the other in Brentwood. Those locations are there for your convenience, and they are in network with most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee. drposs.com. That's drposs.com. The Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Nincompoops in the news on the way. Your telephone calls as well. Kash Patel is our new FBI director. Rand Paul, by the way, let me pay this off. Senator Rand Paul ran an amendment to a budgetary item earlier today that would have cut our budget by $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion. It was opposed by most in the United States Senate, including 29 U.S. senators. I teased that one of our senators in the state of Tennessee voted in favor of that amendment. One voted against it. Any guesses from the peanut gallery?
I will say Haggerty was in support of it.
Haggerty was in support of it. That is correct. Well done. Senator Bill Haggerty voted with the Rand Paul amendment that would have cut an additional $1.5 trillion off of the federal budget, and Marsha Blackburn voted against that amendment, joining 28 other Republicans who did so. Banks, Blackburn, Bozeman, Budd, Capito, Collins, Cornyn, I could go on. There's a lot of them. Wicker, Tillis, Thune, Sullivan, Scott, Rounds, Ricketts. Ricketts? Ooh, don't want to get a case of the Ricketts. McConnell. And on they go. So there you go. They talk a good game when it comes to fiscal responsibility. They don't own up to it when there comes time to own up to it, however. At the risk of annoying the hell out of 6173, who wrote me and said, I'm sick of hearing about your stupid hair. Who cares? At the risk of that, I have this. Hey, Matt, here's a nuclear option. Am I saying that word correctly? I always have trouble with I George W. Bush it. It's
nuclear?
I do the nuclear. I try to put three. That's how I try to remember it. It's two syllables, right?
Yeah.
Hey, W, what's going on?
Going on bike ride.
That's pretty freaky. Now, I could do the old man. I couldn't do the young guy. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad.
I can do Dana Carvey.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, you're doing the Dana Carvey doing George.
Right. And that's what most people do when they do George H.W. is they do Dana Carvey doing him. That's pretty good though. Ken, give me that one more time. The laugh. That's pretty good.
I loved it when GWB laughing, man, and I mean that's all you could hear because the mic's right on him.
I know a lot of people were annoyed that he was funning with Obama, but wasn't it at the Jimmy Carter's funeral where he popped Obama in the belly?
Yeah,
W?
Yeah, it may have been, yeah.
Where he walked up to and he said something like, "What's up, Bo?"
Yeah.
Didn't he call him B-Rock? Am I making that up?
I mean,
I think he called Vladimir Putin Pooty Poot, right?
I think he did call him Pooty Poot. Pooty Poot.
Pooty Poot.
B-Rock. I mean, George W. Bush is our only frat boy president, I think. Yeah. I mean, maybe some Gerald Ford in there, but
he was more of the jock.
Yeah. I mean, but W, he was a frat boy. Who wants to see a kegger? I can stand on that thing. I mean, come on. Anyway, nuclear option, invite a health department representative and give him the old $500 handshake to not allow haircuts in a food establishment. It's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
that's
not in your back pocket.
That's not. We'll just
in case.
Take that under advisement. Here's what I'll take under advisement. It's 42 after the hour. Matt, we'll get to you in just a moment, but first we have nincompoops to get to. I'm telling you, my nincompoop is going to be the IT department if I don't get internet on my laptop where my nincompoop is.
Right now.
Right? So.
Yeah, I've got no Wi-Fi on my phone either.
Oh, you don't?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, then
I do have a solid 5G connection.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well, maybe I should revert back over to the phone then.
Maybe I ought to just stay on 5G. I mean, because whenever I'm on Wi-Fi, I have like one bar.
Uh-huh.
Then when I go to 5G, it's just.
Yep.
I mean, it's up.
It's my deal was pretending that it had Wi-Fi until I asked it to access the Wi-Fi, and then it said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
What Wi-Fi?
What?
We don't have Wi-Fi.
I don't know what. I don't even know what this means. Anyway, I'm going to allow Ken Weaver, in the spirit of the fact that I don't have my story pulled up. I'm going to let Ken Weaver go first.
Well.
Does Ken Weaver not have his story pulled up either?
Boys, I don't have a story today.
No!
I just have not had time. Now,
look, watch them.
Something just popped up.
Weaver Wins is about to show up on the super text line.
Oh, that's the best one yet.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, this is too dark. Can't do it. Can't do anything funny out of that.
Does it involve death?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well,
yeah,
I can talk about an unnatural act in front of the Wendy's.
All right, let's go.
Do it.
Right. This was just before Valentine's Day. I don't know if they couldn't afford flowers or not, but is there anything more romantic than having relations with your partner in broad daylight in front of the Wendy's as motorists pass by on a busy highway? That's exactly what happened in Florida.
Showing his chicken nuggets.
Clearwater, Florida. To be specific.
Mm-hmm.
According to police, 53-year-old Demetria Wilson and 29-year-old Tamario Merrill were caught in the act on a Saturday afternoon. Officer Parker Moody reported spotting Wilson and Merrill laying on the ground behind the bus stop in view of the busy highway. The bus stop was in front of a Wendy's restaurant and adjacent to a busy highway. I'm just reading this story now. I got to read this because there's lots of air quotes here, or lots of quotes.
Yeah.
Wilson, unencumbered by pants, was on her right side, quote, with her buttocks facing her partner. Merrill's pants were pulled down, and he was in a, quote, turgid state as he repetitively engaged with Wilson.
Chris.Weber@cumulus.com.
The couple was, they were busted and charged with performing an unnatural and lascivious act. Both the Wilson and Merrill have a lengthy rap sheet. but they did each plead not guilty to the misdemeanor charge. We'll see how that works out for them.
This was in front of the
Wendy's.
So it wasn't home of the Whopper.
No, but
no. I just got given. I thought it might have been in front of the Burger King.
No, it's
it was the Wendy's.
Wendy's, yeah.
Okay.
The Baconator.
That wasn't a Big Mac.
I love their chicken sandwiches.
She said it was a quarter pounder
with cheese. I'm gonna award my nincompoops in the news story to Fort Knox, and I wasn't originally going to do this, but I need to talk about this anyway. So, the United States of America claims that we have a stockpile of gold within Fort Knox. However, nobody who has seen it will come forward and talk about what they have seen, and anyone that claims to have seen it, they say, we can't talk about it because secrecy and whatever. But I don't understand what's so damn secret about saying, yeah, we've seen the gold at Fort Knox. The United States of America reports that they have 8,133.46 metric tons of gold at Fort Knox. Now, Ken, I heard you talking to, I think it was Chris Hand about this. It might have been Chad Benson. But I thought I heard you guys talking about the Fort Knox, the depository at Fort Knox earlier this week. And I did a little bit of math.
Yes, sir.
If Fort Knox has 147.3 million ounces of gold.
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. I did the math, and now my phone has gone off on me. All right. So doing the math, that would be... Hold on, let me 4, 3. I couldn't do it all because it went to exponentials when I did it the right way. So, but I got to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So that would be at $2,960 an ounce, which is what I think gold was yesterday. That means that we have 147.3 million ounces of gold at Fort Knox. That would be 1, 2, 3. That's $433 billion worth of gold at Fort Knox. But nobody's ever seen it. Donald Trump says he's going to show us the gold at Fort Knox. Who here believes that we have that amount of gold at Fort Knox?
I don't know why I wouldn't believe it.
Why is it such a big secret? Like, why can't they just
send
a camera in there and
just send a TV crew in there? And show us, there it is, here's the gold, blah, blah, blah. All you naysayers, all you conspiracy theorists can go pound sand.
Yeah, just set up like an internet camera in there. That's just on all the time.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And you just look at it.
That's nice. They have that JFK cam from the book depository. Y'all know about that?
Mm-hmm.
There's one of those where it shows right down on the X all the time. So why wouldn't they do this? The people of Fort Knox, y'all need to be a little more transparent and show us where the gold is. That's all we want to see. Where the gold is.
They're furiously painting lead bars gold right now and stacking them up.
I've heard that. I've heard that conspiracy theory where a woman said that she was in there and she was working in there and that they cut into a gold bar and it was all silver. Ooh. Tell you what. All right, Ken Weaver, the surefire way of winning this Nincompoop segment is to tell me you still don't have a story.
Boys, I do not have one.
There it is. That's Nincompoops in the news. Ken Weaver is the Nincompoop in the news today. Weaver's the Nincompoops in the newsroom.
I win then.
Oh, wow. You know what? You should nominate yourself.
I nominate Ken Weaver.
Well, he's going to win.
He's
moved and seconded.
100%. Ken Weaver's the winner today on Nincompoops in the News on a Friday edition. What is your favorite conspiracy theory? We're going to get into that in a moment and talk about gold at Fort Knox, aliens, JFK, and whatever else you think is a conspiracy in the United States of America. And what should we uncover through our FBI director and our attorney general? It's 10 until the top of the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Eurofix. Here's the bottom line. Have you been in an auto shop lately Have you noticed how unreliable things can be at the auto shop? Have you thought about going to a different place? Well, let me tell you about the incredible folks at Eurofix. Have you noticed that a lot of these auto shops, they're kind of smelly? They got greasy old rags lying around or whatever. Not so at Eurofix. They are clean as the day is long. Your mama would love how clean it is. Another thing that stinks at the typical auto repair shop, they keep your car forever. They're not honest. They don't tell you what really is wrong with the car. They don't tell you when it's going to be fixed. If your last experience was stinky at a vehicle repair shop, it's time to get to Eurofix. They take the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute, no-wrench inspection with every visit. Not a high-pressure sales tactic, just an idea of what is going on with your car. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Never pay dealer prices. Go to Eurofix. 5 locations to serve you. One's in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now the newest location in Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or go to myeurofix.com and tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
Just a whole bunch of things happening in the courts today. I'll go over some of them for you coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, not the least of which that Supreme Court decision putting on hold temporarily the firing of an individual in the executive branch of government. Some are wondering what the heck's going on there. I'll try to break it down for you in the 6 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you're wondering why in the world the mainstream media chooses to focus on some of the difficulties in cutting spending in the federal government through Doge as opposed to some of the successes, well, look no further than who is the president of the United States. Obviously, those in the mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, #NeverCNN and the like, they're not going to talk about those things that present as a positive for Donald Trump, only as a negative. But there are incredible successes happening at the federal level when it comes to spending. Identifying some of this wasteful spending is a key component to Donald Trump's second term as president. For example, schools spent hundreds of billions of dollars of COVID relief money in expenses that had little to nothing to do with the education of students. I'm going to go over some of that with you in just a moment. First, it's Matt's turn in Shelbyville. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm great.
I got a question for you. Been having this conversation with a friend of mine, but I think that if we ever want to find solutions, we have to start. How are we going to determine what is truth and what is alternate facts? Because we have to have a way where we can start at a base where people can understand. My take is I want Donald Trump to do everything he said he was going to do. He has the House, he has the Senate, he has the Supreme Court, he has it all. And when this blows up and destroys America, they have nobody but to blame but themselves. But how do we start to where I can say, hey, this is what happened, and then they're going to say, no, that's fake news, or I don't believe that, or this report was written and this is wrong. I understand truth is relative, but if we don't have a way where we can start from the beginning, then you can't tell me that Donald Trump is right in real time, or I can't tell you that Donald Trump is wrong. All we're going to do is remember it's the fruit. It's what happened.
Well, when you say words like right and wrong, then you're entering an arena where you're dealing with opinion in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to politics, right?
Well, yes, but we have to. It's just hard. I just don't know where to go with this, other than have the whole country be on fire, and then I'm going to say, "Well, I told you."
Well, one of the things, and I think this is the beginning of a very good conversation, because one of the things that the mainstream media allowed itself to do is because they entered the opinion arena, which we've always been a part of the opinion arena, and we don't make any bones about it. But because they decided to do that, they presented opinion-based commentary as fact or fiction. And they started doing that with Donald Trump, too, where Donald Trump would, say something that was full of bluster. And I'm going to put Matt on hold and let him follow up on this after the news, because I think this is a good conversation to have, Matt. There's a difference between opinion-based commentary and fact. 2 + 2 is 4. That is a fact. As a mathematical certainty. But saying that, I have an opinion about this or that policy position that Donald Trump holds, well, those are opinions. And, everybody's got one of those. Let's talk about it in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the news.
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. The U.S. Supreme Court handing President Trump a setback, leaving the pause in place on Trump's effort to fire the man in charge of the Office of Special Counsel. The Associated Press has filed a lawsuit against the White House for kicking it out of presidential events because it refuses to go along with President Trump renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. A federal judge says President Trump can resume putting U.S. aid employees on administrative leave and recalling others from overseas, which clears the way for efforts to overhaul the agency as part of Trump's plan to cut the size of federal government. Firings have started at the Federal Aviation Administration. And Kash Patel has been sworn in as FBI director by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Here's what Patel had to say, starting with thanking President Trump.
I want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on, what a courageous warrior and leader he has been, and the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, that sounds pretty freaking cool. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend, you're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate that trust. The men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution. So thank you for entrusting me, Pam.
President Trump not happy with the pace of deportation. Neither is border czar Tom Homan. So today, the acting ICE director, Caleb Vitello, was reassigned. What about the war on Ukraine?
Earlier this week, President Trump accused Ukrainian President Zelensky of being a dictator. Asked today if he thinks Russian President Putin is also a dictator, the president said,
I think that President Putin and President Zelensky are going to have to get together because you know what? We want to stop killing millions of people.
The president dismissed a news report that said he was considering a trip to Russia in May. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says Fire Chief Kristen Crowley led 1,000 firefighters off duty the day of the Palisades fire.
Acting in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief.
And Louisville Metro Police say they were called to a shooting today at the driver licensing center in Valley Station. 3 people died.
Absolutely a tragedy, and I'm surprised that there wasn't more people injured, but this many people were standing outside.
Yeah, police still looking for the suspects. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. See a crash in Cool Springs, blocking the left lane, 65 northbound before Moores Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Don't forget, March 4th, 6 o'clock is the official start time of our event at Nashville Palace, an evening with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, Chris Hand, Chad Benson, and you. If we fill the joint, I get a high and tight.
High and tight.
High and tight. That's if we fill the joint. I'm getting my hair cut that night, but if we fill the place, 725 strong, that's when we get out the clippers and we go ahead and buzz that thing. I've got a line on a couple of barbers, by the way. I had one reach out to me just moments ago saying she was interested in talking to me about this. So,
did you get the number I sent you earlier?
Oh, no.
I texted you.
All right,
yeah.
So we got two leads.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have a barber there. Don't get me wrong. Now, the super texters do bring up a good point. I wonder if should I just ask forgiveness on this? I don't think I should ask permission.
Oh,
I think technically there will be food.
Yeah, I'm staying out of that.
Yeah, see, I'm just going to back out of the room slowly. I'm just going to fade like Homer Simpson does into the bushes, and
might have to go out in the parking lot.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if we have to go in the parking lot, we have to go in the parking lot. If we have to go into the bar section, the smaller section, we'll do that. We'll go on the front porch. I'll just sit in a rocking chair and do it that way. I mean, one way or the other, we'll make it happen. 615-737-9986. I asked a question. So Donald Trump claims that we're going to get to the bottom of JFK. We're going to get to the bottom of MLK. We're going to get to the bottom of RFK. Are there conspiracy theories about MLK and RFK of note? I did not realize if there were. I thought those were pretty open and shut cases, that RFK was shot by Sirhan, and MLK was shot by James Earl Ray from across the parking lot to the Lorraine Motel. He was in a kind of a hotel motel type deal. He was renting a room and he shot from across the way, knowing that that's where Martin Luther King stayed when he was in Memphis at the Lorraine Motel. I'm not aware if there's any further conspiracy theories outside of obviously the FBI was tracking MLK, believing him to have communist sympathies at the time. But other than that, the big conspiracy theory is with JFK. Gold is a conspiracy theory that is of interest to me, considering that so many of you don't believe that there's gold in Fort Knox. I think that there is a certain amount of gold in Fort Knox. I don't know if it's as much as they tell us that there is, but I don't know why they'd be lying about it if that were the case, except to prop up the United States of America, in which here's the deal. If they're lying about it, I don't think the president's going to tell us. If we have been lied to all of this time about the amount of gold in Fort Knox, and now there's also a federal depository in Manhattan, in New York City. It's underground. And so there's a lot of gold supposedly there, too.
That's the one that was in Die Hard 2, or 3. Yeah.
And see, I never saw 3.
Yeah, with the one with Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce.
Oh, the one where he's wearing I've seen that scene where they make him wear the thing, and that's when I think Samuel Jackson tells him he's about to get killed.
Yes, yeah. That's the depository they robbed, yeah.
Oh, see, now you make me. Is it worth a watch?
Oh, that's probably my favorite Die Hard.
Really?
Well, the first one is the best, but that one's the most fun.
What is the? I didn't see either of the second or the third one.
Second one's not real good. That one was at airport, Dulles. Yeah, and the third one is in New York City. Yeah.
What was the general concept of the second one? Is that they were on a plane or?
It was some sort of military. let's see, it was some general of some foreign nation that they wanted released, and he was being flown on a military aircraft to the United States to stand trial or something. I don't know. They demanded he be released, but it was all a ruse because they wanted to, I don't know. It was convoluted and not very good.
Well, there's your movie review.
Yeah.
Y'all enjoyed Die Hard 2 over the weekend. I don't believe that there is a lack of gold in Fort Knox. Here's my most controversial conspiracy theory. I think that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I know. I'm waiting because all of you are right now judging me. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not afraid of it. In the meantime, Matt called us up before the top of the hour news at 6 o'clock. And I put Matt on hold because I think this is a conversation worthwhile having. It has to do with the concept of fact, fiction, opinion, and how all three of those are meeting at the same place, and that is in our news organizations. And, Matt, I'm glad you were able to hold. I'm glad we were able to continue this conversation. And I hope it makes sense to you that, I think we're convoluting what is fact, what is fiction versus what is opinion-based analysis in a lot of these arenas nowadays. Is that a fair statement?
It is, but also a fair statement is that there are a lot of American citizens want to be led. They want to take what somebody says and run with it without even doing any type of background information. And so they're like suckers for truth, that they want it to be true so bad because it fits their own personal narrative that they believe it, and then they make a comment of it, and then next thing you know, they find out that it's not true, and now they got to walk it back and got egg all over their face. Well, everybody doesn't like to be embarrassed, but I think that and it goes into, just goes into the pastors in churches. People don't want to read the Bible. They want to be told. Your work, the employment, they want their boss to tell them every step of the way. So it's just like too many things in our society that we as humans don't do enough due diligence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but have we ever?
Well, it's getting to the point where the cost is too great. The cost is getting great. We haven't even been in existence for 200 years, 300 years, I guess, whatever the number. And
250. Cut that in half. Yeah.
Right. And let me ask you this. You said something about the gold, and I always wanted to ask somebody of knowledge, maybe but if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the money, our money, the dollar, taken off the gold standard in 1972?
Yes.
Then how much money? Then if that's the case, and our money is not based on that, that means that this money is worthless.
Yeah, I don't.
It can be used in theory, because in theory, it's not held to something. We can use it to barter and trade, but that means that $30 some odd $1 trillion debt, that's only a digital debt. You can erase that because, again, it's not on anything. Can you not?
Well, yeah, you would destroy our economy if you did that. You would make if you defaulted on our debt. If America defaulted on our debt obligations, then you would essentially make the dollar worthless. The dollar only has an assigned value to it.
Okay, so we owe. You know this because you're in the business, but I also know that the United States owes. We have creditors that we owe, but the world owes us that they're not paying.
Right. So
then how do we get our money from them?
What you're describing is, well, we're not probably, but what you're describing, I don't remember the exact year, but I'll assume you're correct that it was 1972 when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard and we went on, our money, our dollar exists and is based on its own weight and heft. The good faith and credit of the United States of America. It's called fiat currency, and we've done that in modern times. I disagree with it. I think it ought to be backed by something or another, a tangible asset like gold or silver or something else. But it is not. Its value comes from the government's declaration in and of itself that the money has value, that it is good and legal tender. And so if it is based, our money, on the United States' good faith and credit, and the United States demonstrates that it does not have good faith and credit, and it defaults on its debts, then the money becomes worthless, Matt.
So, okay. I mean, I get it. But then again, that comes back to the truth again. We got to make sure that we have our leaders with truth, because if not, we can.
Yeah, but
again,
I mean, but you keep talking about truth, and I mean, do you think? I mean, what about the last month? I mean, I think we're doing more to get to the bottom of the government and the government's micromanagement over our daily lives than we have in a long, long time.
What about the last 4 years or last 12 years? But again, and that's another thing. Since we're talking about it, Elon Musk comes in here and says, we found this, that, and the other. But who checks the auditor?
Audit the audit.
Everybody has to check him. We have to at least have somebody checking Elon Musk's numbers. And if he has receipts for this, then we should see them.
Well, he's being as transparent as, I mean, you can see his receipts on Doge.gov every day. So,
but again, anybody can create that.
Elon,
we have to make sure.
Wait, so you're suggesting wait, hold on. What benefit would there be for Elon Musk to lie about any of this? What benefit is there for Elon Musk to get into this to begin with?
Definitely not cash. Definitely not cash, because he's the richest man in the world. But when the richest man in the world has everything, what more does he want, right? And that would be power. Now, Trump and the administration got to leave in 4 years, but Elon will have all the information, and you can call that leverage. That's why.
I find it interesting that you assume in your analysis that the person you're talking about, in this case Elon Musk, is a bad person.
Not a bad person at all.
No, you're assuming that you're assuming that he's in it for his own personal greed.
But that is the way that the West has run it. That's the way Let me give you an example, Matt. Elon Musk, by his own admission, overpaid for the Twitter platform by about $20 billion. Doesn't get any credit when he controls the algorithms. So,
no, but why does he do that?
Okay, but again, he bought that for the free speech, so you can say what you want. But he put the algorithms in his favor. So if you go against Elon and everything else, you get booted off. So wait a minute, hold on.
According to whom? According to you?
According
to the thumb suckers that don't like the fact that their X Machine posts don't get the attention that they used to get because all of their liberal buddies are over on Blue Sky, according to those people?
Look, again, what's going to happen is that every dog has its day. The Republicans are rolling right now, so they're going to say the liberals. But remember, that shoe is going to flip, and then that's when everybody is going to start screaming.
What side are you on, Matt?
I'm in the middle, and actually, I have a little more conservative views than I have liberal views. But I will tell you this much: if you take away my liberal views, I'm going to fight you. If you take away my conservative views, I'm going to fight you. So let's get in the middle. Let's get it. If you have things that you want to bring out that are deeming against one another, bring it out.
What's a middle? Well, yeah, but see, everybody says that. What's a middle view? Give me an example of a middle view.
Man and woman is the only one that can be married. That is the middle view. That's That's it. If anybody else wants to marry the same sex, it is called a union. You can have that. But marriage is for a man and woman. You have to have a distinction.
How about? I suppose you can consider that a middle view. I don't know that I would necessarily consider it a middle view. I think middle view is perhaps as perceived by the speaker or those that hear the viewpoint. Matt, I appreciate the call. I think it's run its course. I do appreciate the concept of where you're coming from. Truth is truth. Truth is not fungible. I guess that's the best word I can come up with it. Opinions are different than truth. Truths are that, the earth, rotates around the sun, that that there's 24 basic hours. There's some scientific truths that I think that we hold precious and dear. They're mathematical truths that we hold precious and dear. The sun's going to come up in the morning. I believe that is a truth, and remains to be seen whether or not it'll happen or not. But I think we merge opinion and truth so much nowadays that it's oftentimes hard to distinguish one from the other. Mario writes in and says, Matt is a thumb sucker. Well, which Matt is the big question there, Mario? 615-737-9986. Back in a moment. Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to speak with you, gentlemen, particularly if you found yourself to be low energy, low motivation, or drive. Let's talk about this. Now, oftentimes what happens is this manifests itself in the bedroom. And if you've had issues with bedroom activity, men, there's no shame in this game. This happens to most men at a certain age in their life. Over 50% of men have reported that they've had some lack of motivation or drive. That's the best way that I can say it. Some people would call it ED. I don't necessarily get into your business on that level, but I would say this. If you've had that issue, you need to contact the best of the best, and that is Tennessee Men's Clinic. There are a variety of programs available for you. They'll get to the bottom of your issue. They'll talk with you about it in a discreet and professional manner. They'll get a little blood work and see what's going on. And is it a T level? If it is, that is an easy fix for the guys at Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com to find out the variety of ways that they can assist you, gentlemen, with whatever energy activity that you're trying to engage in. They can help you no matter what your age might be. Call today for an appointment at 615-208-9090. 208-9090. Call our friends at the Tennessee Men's Clinic online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Got a crash eastbound 24 at Briley Parkway, and the right two lanes are blocked. And the man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was in court today. We'll let you hear some of that and the closing money news at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Everything's falling apart in this studio.
What happened now?
The laptop, our other computers, your host, everyone. Honestly, if you told me that the percentage of the asteroid had gone up into the 90s, I would be happy with that.
It's that bad, huh?
It's I'm just, I'm officially out of steam, man. Officially out of steam. I think Matt did it for me in Smyrna.
Just took it all out of you.
Well, I mean, Matt just seemed to, was it just me? Was I not listening properly? He seemed to talk in cliches. Kind of well, at the end of the day, the truth matters and facts are facts. And, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, but a stitch in time saves nine. You see what I'm saying, Matt? No, I don't. I don't really understand what you're saying at all.
Well, he doesn't seem to have a take, or he doesn't seem to,
Try, Weaver.
settle on something.
Just have a take. That's all I ask. Bobby is in Murfreesboro. Bobby, your one requirement is to have a take.
I called about the haircut deal.
Well, I hope you have a take on it.
I was 3rd Battalion, 6th Marine, back 2011.
Hold on a second. You're a Marine.
14.
You can have anything you want, take or otherwise.
Like I said, I just called about the haircut deal, and I'll give you a high and tight if you want one.
Well, I don't think I want one.
Listening to that fellow, his I'm in the middle. I think my view on that, I was in during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and it got repealed while I was still in. And I mean, us conservatives don't push it on us. We don't care, don't push it on us. And then you got the liberals. Oh, everybody needs to do this. How about we come in the middle and say, do whatever in the hell you want to?
And Bobby, no, it's a great point that you make. And please join us on March 4th, where if you do, you might watch me get that high and tight, by the way.
Should he bring his clippers with him?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. I don't need amateur clipper hour. No offense, Bobby. I'm sure you're very good at what you do, being a Marine. Everybody likes to say, well, let's get in the middle. And nobody's there. Why would you? I employ the Mr. Miyagi principle.
Wax on, wax off?
That's a good one, but not that one. No. Mr. Miyagi told Danielson, you karate yes, you okay. You karate no, you okay. You karate maybe so, squish just like grape. That's what being in the middle's like. You're just going to get run over. Have a take. Take a stand. Make a point. Do it. I'm going to let Ken Weaver do it. And then I'll make a point on the other side of it. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. A New York State judge today set no trial date for Luigi Mangione, accused of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last December. Trevor Alt outside the courthouse describing the scene.
A crowd of supporters, many angry at the healthcare system, hoping to catch a glimpse of accused killer Luigi Mangione. Their chants heard all the way up on the 15th floor, where supporters packed the hallway for Mangione's first court appearance in months. The case a cultural flashpoint. The young suspect seeming to garner more sympathy than the man he's accused of murdering. Some Mangione supporters going as far to put up billboards reading, "Free Luigi, he's a hero."
U.S. Supreme Court handing President Trump a setback today. They left the pause in place on Trump's bid to fire the head of the Office of the Special Counsel. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
Investors appearing nervous over Trump tariffs. The stocks taking a sharp fall Friday. The Dow Jones netting its biggest loss of the year so far, down 748 points. The S&P, which saw two record-setting days earlier this week, ending down 104 points, and the Nasdaq lost 438 points. United Healthcare Group shares also took a tumble of around 7% after reports that the Department of Justice began a civil fraud investigation into the company's Medicare billing practices. Earlier this week, the company also offered voluntary buyouts for certain employees and warned if a quota is not met by early March, it could trigger layoffs. New data shows American home buyers may still be balking at the prices on the market, with sales of previously occupied U.S. homes dropping nearly 5% in January, despite a wider selection of properties available.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Good old I-24. 45-minute delay eastbound 24 because the right two lanes are blocked by a crash at Briley Parkway. This is on 24 too, only it's going westbound in Smyrna. You got a stalled vehicle blocking 24 westbound at Almaville Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products? With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why are most in the mainstream media refusing to talk about the successes of Doge? Because they do not want to highlight the successes of the Donald Trump administration. That is as simple as it gets. Also pretty simple. So I do these things so you don't have to. Like I have a stupid subscription to the Tennessean, for example. I do that because I need to know how a leftist organization in the state of Tennessee is reporting on the news. Plus, occasionally I like to read the sports pages, as it were. Well, similarly, I don't have a lot of these types of subscriptions anymore because I don't like giving these organizations my money, but I do continue to have a subscription to the Washington Post. Blech. Blech. Democracy dies in darkness. That's what they say. And I read this headline. They have become so typical. They have become so expected. I read this headline, and I never had to read the story to know what it said. I did read the story to confirm in my mind what it said. The headline was this. And this is on the heels of Elon Musk and the Doge service and targeting of federal government employees and downsizing government. Headline, are federal workers lazy? Let's look at the data. I want to challenge my executive producer, Chris Weber.
Uh-oh.
The Washington Post has written an article called, Are Federal Workers Lazy? Let's look at the data. Would you care to venture a guess as to what their conclusions were?
No, they are definitely not lazy.
Oh, no, that's exactly right. You are exactly right. And they go a step further, though, Weber.
Wow.
That not only are federal workers not lazy, they crunched the numbers, and they came to the conclusion that federal workers are not only not lazy, but they work more than any other workers in America in the federal workforce. According to all these surveys and various data points, and they go through the whole shebang, and I'm not going to bore you with it, they claim that federal workers work more per week than even self-employed incorporated workers. And what a self-employed incorporated worker is a small business owner. That, according to their data, a federal worker, look, I'm not knocking federal workers, okay? I'm not trying to, but this is garbage. That the federal workforce works on an average of 43 hours a week. And that a self-employed incorporated worker, in other words, a small business owner, works 42.5 hours a week. I know. And that everyone else works less. For-profit employees, local government employees, nonprofit employees, self-employed, non-incorporated employees, all private sector employees work less than federal employees. According to the Washington Post, where democracy dies in darkness, the hardest working people on planet, or well, let's not exaggerate, Murphy, the hardest working people in the United States of America are federal workforce. So we can only extrapolate from this that they are well worth their money. Tim is in Antioch. What's going on, Tim?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great.
I know you're always saying that Oswald acted alone. I'm big on the JFK thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've just kind of studied this thing for about 10 to 15 years, and I've done a lot of my own research. I'll just say there's a couple things that you need to think about. One is this: when Trump was first in 2016, they released that the CIA had a defectors program in the 50s. And basically what it was guys that were spies, and they act like they hated America, and they would, go to another country, try to become an agent, for them. The thing about Oswald is my opinion, he was a low-level CIA asset agent. He was at Asteroid, Japan as a sonar guy. When he defected, 1 month later, the U-2 spy plane with Gary Powers got shut down. And where was the U-2 spy plane at? Asteroid, Japan. There's also a lot of connections. One is a CIA director, the deputy director was a guy named General Charles Cabell. At the Bay of Pigs, him and Dulles both had to resign. Kennedy made him resign. The mayor of Dallas was Earl Cabell, which was Charles Cabell's brother, and he knew the route. Oswald got hired at the Texas School Depository 1 month before the shooting, and who owned it was D.H. Byrd, who did not like Kennedy, but he was the presidential library for LBJ. And he also was in charge of the Civil Air Patrol, where if you ever watched JFK, you saw Joe Pesci playing a guy named David Ferry, who was an instructor. There's pictures out there of David Ferry with Oswald when he was 15 at the Civil Air Patrol. Also, if you ever saw I think it was called Air America with Tom Cruise. Basically, Barry Seal was also in that Civil Air Patrol, and D.H. Byrd was the creator of the Civil Air Patrol. There's a lot of connections that are going on. Basically, it was LBJ. He's behind it. The CIA made the hit. The FBI covered it up. Hoover hated Bobby Kennedy. He hated the Kennedys, too. They were going to force him to retire.
Bottom line it for me again. Let me hear. I want to hear your bottom line.
Bottom line is LBJ did it.
Okay.
CIA made the hit.
Okay.
FBI covered it up.
Why was LBJ wanting to do it?
Because basically he was going to throw him off the ticket. Kennedy was going to throw him off the ticket. He wanted to be president. They also, as soon as Johnson became president, he turned course on Vietnam, got us involved in Vietnam.
Yeah, wait. Kennedy did?
Kennedy did not want to go to Vietnam. Johnson, as soon as Kennedy got shot, he turned course and said, we're going into Vietnam.
The military-industrial complex.
Yep. Military-industrial complex. Okay. You could say oil.
I don't know. How many volumes would you say have been written about this? I mean, a lot, right?
A lot. And basically, the shooters are the low-level guys at Dealey Plaza.
So was Oswald a shooter?
No, I think he was probably what happened is, I think what happened when he went to Russia, I think they sniffed him out that he was a double agent, and that's why he came back. Because you got to think about.
So he did. But he was at the depository, right?
He was at the depository. He probably got the gun, but probably more likely the CIA had said, "That's okay. Your cover was blown in Russia. We got another thing. We got these right-wing extremists." And you remember David Ferry? He was your instructor of Civil Air Patrol. And basically,
Joe Pesci.
We're going to stop something.
Was that the Joe Pesci guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And basically,
but the Oliver Stone thing was kind of an amalgamation of all of the theories, huh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. At one point, if you catch the Oliver Stone, he even talks about that. Garrison said that LBJ was responsible. They kind of slipped past.
Hey, Tim, I would love. I mean, look, I don't think that you're going to turn me on this in one sitting. So we might need to do several sessions of therapy before I turn completely against my longstanding belief that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. But you've done a good job thus far tonight, and I appreciate the conversation and the telephone call. I'm going to suspend it for there. Yeah. Every time I say it and open up the phones, that's what happened. I mean, I'm not disrespecting you, Tim. I don't disrespect your opinion on this matter. I've heard all of them. I promise you I have. I have not studied the subject as much as Tim and other conspiracy theorists or non-conspiracy theorists, however you want to describe yourselves. I've heard all of the Cubans and the mob and the CIA operatives and the LBJ, and there's a lot of different amalgamations amongst all of that. And I also happen to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald knew the root as it was published in the newspaper and hated John F. Kennedy and hated John F. Kennedy's relationship or lack thereof with the Cubans. And, well, anyway, I just believe what I believe, and y'all can call me silly if you want. Hello, Danny. How are you?
Hey, evening, sir. You there?
Danny, I'm here.
Hey, all right. We can always count on you, Mr. Matt.
Well, thank you, Danny. I appreciate that.
No, really. Anyways, I want to. Can I weigh in on this haircut thing again?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. It's late on a Friday, and Danny, I got to tell you something. A lot of weight. There's a lot of weight on this telephone call, and here's what I mean. And I don't want to put too much pressure on you.
Lay it on me.
But let me tell you, I've put together no better than a C- show today. I'm going to be honest with you. It might even be a dadgum D+, and I hate saying it. And I need you to pull me out of that gutter and pull us up to a C+ or a B-. Can you do that, Danny?
Well, look, I can do what I can do, but I don't know that I can measure up to your standards, sir.
I mean, we're leaning on you, Danny.
Here's my point of view on this haircut thing. Now, you got to understand that I've took a few hard hits to the head in life, so my rationale and reasoning isn't always correct, okay? That's true, and that's why I'm a documented disabled vet. But, however, let me get back to this. Your haircut, the mighty fine is kind of known. That's what the buzz cut is. But you were growing your hair out for support of Trump and excess, getting the military squared away and all this, turn our country around, doing good. So in support of the troops and the pride and the military, all of that, made me cry thinking about it. You need to go with a high and tight. And what I'm going to suggest is that you go with a short, flat top, short as you can get it, flat top, high and tight skin on the sides. And that's in support of the troops. And here's the other thing. Your coworkers are going to hate me for it if you do this. Because you're going to see yourself in the mirror, and all of a sudden you're going to be flexing.
You're looking good.
You're going to feel like you're an airborne ranger, like you done all that school and everything. You might even feel like you're an SF guy or something because you just look that good. And you're sporting it. And then when you come into work the next day, somebody's going to say, "Hi, Matt." You're going to say, "Are you talking to me? Drop and give me 20." Because you'll be like a drill sergeant.
I'll be like a dadgum drill sergeant in here.
You go.
Mandis, you drop and give me 20.
Yes, drill sergeant.
Hey, here's the problem though, Danny. And I love it. I love everything you've just said. But my hair is never, ever going to get higher or tighter than Dan Mandis's.
Well, hey, you can start a competition. And here's the other thing I want to add to it, and that might help this out. You always worry about the mainstream media, what they're reporting. How about this Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy competition over high and tight hair and support of Trump and all that and support the troops and this haircut thing, and all of a sudden the mainstream media is going to pick up on it.
Oh, well, and we got it. Well, I kind of like that, Danny. We got to get us that. Thank you, Danny. We got to get us some of that mainstream media. I mean, who doesn't want some of that mainstream media? I mean, we're mass communicating now. Thank you, Danny.
Sergeant Murphy.
You drop and give me 20. I look kind of like Sergeant Carter in Gomer Pyle.
Yeah.
He had a flat top, right?
He did. Yep.
I think
exactly.
Could I, if I downshifted to flat top, is that permissible? I mean, I think a flat top qualifies as a buzz cut.
Absolutely.
Oh, you would agree?
I would agree.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to disagree on that.
No, I do agree.
No, I think a flat top's a buzz cut. I'm going to research styles of buzz cut, and and I'm going to try to get to the longest one that I possibly can get to, out of fear that 725 people will actually show up. As we continue on the Matt Murphy Show, we're going to try to pull a D- into a C+ territory right after this on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS, which stands for United Structural Systems. USS comes out to your house, and you get problem solvers. They are providing peace of mind to you, the customer, the homeowner. What does that mean? Well, if you call USS, odds are you've noticed an issue, perhaps a sticking door or window. Maybe you've smelled a moldy or mildewy smell coming out of your basement or crawl space. All of these are signs of foundation issues. They are signs of waterproofing issues, which can lead to foundation issues. Perhaps it's concrete repair that you're looking for. Maybe you have concrete in your driveway or your walkways that have buckled and gotten uneven, and you need to even that back up. That could be a trip hazard, and that could be a legal hazard. Let's get it fixed with USS, United Structural Systems. They've been trusted sources for home repair since 1994. That's over 30 years of trust. Homeowners simply trust USS because they guarantee their best. And so I invite you to give them a call, USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Show winding down for another day and another week. We'll make it a weekend coming up in about 3 minutes or so as we hand off to Mark Levin, the great one. Jake is in Columbia. He's going to wrap things up for us. Hey, Jake, how are you?
I sure enough be good. How you be?
Man, I'm better than I deserve, Jake.
Well, all right then. I want to make 3 quick things. On your haircut, I think you should go Dan Mandy's full Kojak.
Wait, say that again?
I think on your haircut you should go full Dan Mandy's full Kojak.
Full Dan Mandy's. Yeah. I made Jake laugh. Maybe so. Look, if I'll tell you what, if I'm going to get a high and tight, if we fill the joint at 725 people, if Elon Musk shows up, I will shave my head bald. That fair?
Like clean.
Like Mr. Clean, bald, Dan Mandy's style.
Kojak.
Kojak. Yeah. Dan Mandy's Kojak. That is what I will commit to doing. All right? You know what? I think it's probably a good idea if I turn everything over to Donald Trump and let him talk to you for a minute. Donald Trump spoke earlier today about his, no, you know what? That's not going to work because my computer, for some reason, the lack of internet service on the Wi-Fi has now infected my units here in the studio.
Huh. Well,
thank goodness it doesn't affect that music in the background. A lot of you have a lot of opinion on the JFK assassination, and I think that's great. Listen, I've held on to my singular belief that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone since I was a child and began doing a little bit of research as, a 13, 14-year-old on this case. I've never wavered from the belief that I had. At the time that I held this belief when I was 14, it was conventional wisdom. Now I'm the conspiracy theorist. And I'm fine with that. I haven't moved. 9832 said he still had 2 points to make. I understand that, but you know what? Tick-tock, tick-tock. And we ended on a high note there with the Dan Mandy's, which sounds a lot like testes, and I kind of like that. So there you go. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you on Monday at 3 o'clock. Until then, so long, everybody.